Hey, I'm here. This time, this time it's not a fucking misclick on my part, like that stream that I set up for yesterday. Okay, and we are all set up. Yeah, I'm just gonna, for now, I'm just gonna chill, let people come in. And, yeah, set some things up. While we're waiting, Reggie's Barotrauma video is a good one to put on the playlist. Oh yeah, you mentioned it before. I will 100% put it on. I kind of forgot it last time, so... Hello dude, ever watched Bricky's or Rimi's Project Wingman reviews? Highly recommend those. I'm pretty sure I did not. So yeah, let me see. Oh. Oh wow, there's actually a lot more people here than I expected. Reggie Barrow Trauma. Does Reggie have like... Hold on, let me... does Reggie only have a one Barrow Trauma video? Because I see just this. And this one from Rubik's Raptor we saw. James Key also played Barrow Trauma, damn.
Crusader Kings. The gameplay of Warhammer
I will be here as long as my internet doesn't collapse. Things are a bit iffy out there. Damn. That's rough, Lubomir. Holding, you know, hoping for the best for you and your internet, man. Okay, Project Wingman. Project Wingman. Didn't I'm 100% fucking misremembering, but he had a different, like, yeah, the Journeyman project, not Project Wingman. You said Bricky and Remy. I'm not familiar with this content creator. Might actually just check it out just to see what Remy is all about, because yeah, like I said, never watched a video of his. Okay, so what do we have here? So yeah, I think for today we're gonna go through this Reggie Barotrauma video because it's the shortest one I have lined up pretty much. Jacob Geller's Games That Don't Fake Space, which was Jacob Geller in general was recommended like last stream too. Then I'm gonna watch Mandalore's review of System Shock 2, and then we're gonna finish up with Remy's Dismantle the UN Project Wingman VR review. And if I go through the, because this is not that much, if I get through this in a in a timely fashion, then I think I will go on to watch this Fallout 4 Reggie video. I will say I'm very glad for Reggie's content. He introduced me to games I never knew existed, like Conquest of Elysium 5. That one is made by Illwinter, a company so old they believe Windows peaked at 98. And they view the mouse with suspicion. Their website looks like it's from 30 years ago, but they still make games. That's crazy. Remy does make a lot of multiplayer and the usual chaos like Rubik's. They even collab sometimes. Oh, okay. So pretty much in that sphere of and spirit of channels that we watch here anyway. So oh man, something is happening to my fucking computer because I don't know why it's a little bit laggy on my end, but hopefully it looks normal. Okay, so I was trapped at the bottom of the ocean with 3 Psychopaths by Reggie, by now pretty much a staple on the channel.
Have you ever
love me some of Reggie's humor, and that one video we watched where he played that procedurally generated like detective game that the title just slipped my mind. Shit was not only hilarious but also just being introduced to that game felt really nice. This is Barotrauma, so the game is not necessarily new to me, but yeah, as requested in the chat, I would like to see Reggie's take on it. Much like we watched Rubik's Raptor review about Barotrauma.
Have you ever wanted to be handcuffed to a radiator, injected with experimental pharmaceuticals, and emotionally abused so extensively that you suffer a mental breakdown and try to scuttle a nuclear submarine? Oh!
Oh, don't go up there, Reggie. What are you doing?
Well boy, do I have a game for you. Barotrauma is a co-op survival horror game set deep underwater. Alternatively, you can think of it as the fastest way to eviscerate your friendships over the course of about 2 hours. To this effect, I've recruited 3
I think it may be in there, you know. It may be one of them.
recruited 3 of my friendships.
It may be one of them, but I don't think this game is beating Dokapon Kingdom or Mario Party, because like party games that are not like co-op games with actual mechanics like this have something in them, a little bit, a dash of that special sauce that makes you lose your fucking mind around your friends.
Over the course of about 2 hours. To this effect, I've recruited 3 of my friends to quote-unquote enjoy the game. We have the Grim Cleaper, Rar, and Troopin. Our mission? Reach the habitation outpost, which is about 1.5 kilometers away. That doesn't sound too difficult, but the real challenge is to do all of this before Cleaper's psychosis meter reaches 100%, at which point he tends to inject the entire crew with lethal amounts of opium and kill himself. Yeah, so we're gonna have to, like, lock the morphine cabinet next time, because I think our captain might have an issue.
Reggie, I also injected you with a parasite, so...
Interestingly, you won't find any of this documented in Cleaper's video. This is what we call revisionist history, but I digress. Let's begin. I started the mission by appointing myself Chief Nuclear Scientist. This allowed me to operate the nuclear reactor and power our electrical systems. While I was hard at work, my teammates were beginning to question...
I believe it's called the Monopoly effect. Yeah. That's true. The only thing about Monopoly, I don't think Monopoly is as good as ruining friendships as, for example, Mario Party, is that when I play Monopoly, because it's a game you play with your friends, like face to face, right? Not usually through online play or anything like that. And when I'm face to face with my friends and we're playing Monopoly, we're usually drinking. And the drinking gets so bad that we don't finish the game, or everybody loses track of what the fuck was happening in the game. So the game never like naturally concludes. So online games like Dokapon or Mario Party that you mostly play through online, those kinds of experiences don't have that crutch of you being drunk. So, and when you're sober, you're way more likely to actually focus on the game and try to win. And then the Monopoly effect comes out, you know. But yeah, Monopoly is the 100% the first game that I ever felt that the dark urge to skin alive my fucking closest friends because of some stupid fucking cardboard. Speaking of, do people who are there people who like play Warhammer 40k like face to face? Do people like kill each other over the game? Because I kinda imagine that is infuriating too. But I never sat down and played a round of Warhammer 40k or like Magic the Gathering or any of those, you know, popular games that you play in game shops and stuff.
The credentials of our chief medical officer.
I'm the medical doctor.
I don't trust you.
I interrupted them by lighting the nuclear reactor on fire. Some people will tell you this is a bad idea or even unsafe, but those people aren't the chief nuclear scientist and we are not going to listen to them. Unfortunately, my improvisational reactor techniques were scientist and we are not going to listen to them. Unfortunately,
Jestem niesamowicie gejem. Unfortunately. Yeah, that's an accurate translation.
my improvisational reactor techniques resulted in a giant fireball which actually traveled through the ceiling and into the cockpit above, burning all of my friends in the process.
People normally get mad at the dice For some reason, the dice feels more impactful in Warhammer, even though Monopoly is more luck-based. Yeah, I can kinda see that. I mean, because in Monopoly, the whole strategy you take is just luck-based, but in Warhammer you do like army building, and you usually have a strategy going in, and the roll of the dice can completely fuck up your strategy. So I imagine that's why people get kinda more angry at the dice.
What? Why this fire? What's going on?
Honestly, that's just bad ship design. After inhaling 5 times the recommended dose of fire extinguisher foam, the fire was out, but the damage was done.
Why there's water?
The loss of power caused our captain to plow the submarine into a rock formation, and the now immobilized ship was swarmed by a gang of carnivorous sea monkeys. How charming. Don't worry though, because the immense water pressure crushed us all to death long before the sea monkeys ever had the
Hey, I know this one. This one is a classic.
chance. In case you're wondering what this would feel like, let me walk you through it. Let's approximate the water pressure to be about 15,000 psi. This is a lot, but entirely possible. Now imagine a 300-pound woman sitting on you. Now imagine 50 300-pound women sitting on you. Now imagine those 50 women sitting on every square inch of your body. That, my friends, is barotrauma. On to mission 2. Following my exceptional performance in mission 1, my
Was this made before Ocean Gate? Submarine thing? May 17th, 2023. I'm not sure if this was before that.
team members decided to promote me from nuclear scientist to security officer.
Excellent work.
I think Reggie shouldn't be the engineer.
Yes.
So this gives me an opportunity to be the security officer now.
Oh.
Some people might view this as a downgrade, but I now spawn with a Bowie knife and a pair of handcuffs, and I'm deciding to take this job very seriously.
I don't think that was a picture of handcuffs, but
Even better, listen,
Let him
if
cook.
you thought fascism was bad, just wait until you see what I do as the security
Oh
officer.
boy.
The mission began with me receiving a security briefing from the captain.
Reggie, come here. So, I think on this sub, I think we have a traitor. I'm just saying.
This gave me an excellent excuse to demand access to my crew members' genitals. You think we have a traitor? Okay, well, I'm going to find him, but the first thing I have to do is walk around and do mandatory penis inspection, and you're first.
Well, I think my penis is quite large enough.
Kleeper's the traitor, he has a micro-penis. I felt very confident in my assessment of Kleeper as a micro-penis traitor, but it would be negligent for me not to investigate the other crew members as well. First up was Rar. I need you to do drugs in front of me to prove your loyalty to the submarine. Rar responded by forcibly injecting the drugs into Kleeper and sprinting down a dark hallway.
What did you just put on me?
It's no good. This tells me nothing. The only person I actually felt good about was Troopin. Wow, Troopin, I'm very impressed with how you've learned from me and you've adopted my nuclear reactor technique.
Yeah, I just looked what we are doing and did the opposite.
My investigation was briefly interrupted by a sea squid assault, but that's nothing a little 50 caliber BMG can't fix. Unfortunately, we sustained some damage in this battle, but thanks to my innovative water draining techniques, we were able to stabilize our situation.
Yeah, how do we drain the water?
You need a bucket.
Bucket. I don't think a bucket's gonna do it.
It was around this time the moral fabric of our micro-society had not only deteriorated, but it had gone up in flames like a hot air balloon covered in nitroglycerin. Why? Because our new scientist had established an interspecies relationship with a dead animal.
Oh. Oh, hi.
I taking him with me.
Oh, is he your friend now?
Yes.
I considered this vaguely suspicious. At this point, the traitor could be anyone, and there's only one way to find out the truth. A wise man once told me, you can identify your friends by how people treat you when you can't fight back, which
the Titan fiasco happened literally a month later, June 18th. God damn.
was all the rational...
Wasn't there like an extremely out of pocket either Subnautica or Barotrauma? I think it was Subnautica. Didn't Subnautica go on sale when all this Ocean Gate shit happened? That was so out of pocket. God damn.
Rationalization I needed for the following.
Reggie, be prepared to deploy the handcuffs. I think one of our crew members is,
I've handcuffed myself.
Don't take it off. Let him suffer.
Now defenseless, I would lie in wait until the traitor revealed himself to me, and I didn't have to wait long.
Hey Reggie, come here. I think I can help you out.
Because within seconds, the entire crew began not only beating me, but injecting me with the complete contents of the medicine cabinet.
He's resistant. He pulled out a gun. I swear.
This is fucked up. You guys, this is like a CIA mind control program. You guys are just dosing me with drugs and beating me. I'm running into the wall, giving myself concussions over and over again. It was now clear to me. Everyone was the traitor, and I had just authorized myself to use any means necessary to bring them to justice. My personal crusade was, however, stifled when the sub began filling with water and I was still handcuffed. But eventually I managed to free myself with the help of a strange British man. Let me get on like a lower level. Ugh. Harder. Oh, I think it worked.
Okay, I'm good. Why have you got a knife?
Oh, no reason. It is now time to restore order to the submarine.
Let's fix the stupid ass thing now.
I've noticed the theme. Like every time I look outside the ship, we're just going down.
Oh my God! What happened?
After firing a warning shot directly into Kleeper's head, I began immediately trying to sink the sub by opening the airlock and filling our vessel with 10,000 liters of water.
Oh, don't go up there, Reggie. What are you doing?
This resulted in confusion.
How do I heal you?
I don't know.
What do I do?
I need help.
And a moderate amount of turbulence.
Okay,
No!
What's happened again?
Unfortunately, my plan was cut short due to my...
Man, I said this in Rubik's Raptors video about the game, but I love the physics and how it simulates like the submarine going ape shit and like throwing everybody on board like a goddamn pizza pie.
Extensive list of medical conditions that I had accumulated. At any given time, I was suffering simultaneously from blunt force trauma, opiate withdrawal, severe concussion, gunshot wound, active bleeding, low oxygen, hallucinations, and a parasitic infection. Oh, and Kleeper also took a bunch of drugs, shot me in the face, and attempted to hide the evidence by releasing my body into the ocean.
I need morphine. I need morphine so bad. I got it. I just took it. Okay, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling good. Reggie?
This was an expertly executed plan on his part, except for when he somersaulted feet first into the submarine's active propeller and killed himself.
What? Oh God, I just walked into the propeller. Guys, I'm not feeling so hot.
Somehow, without Kleeper and I, things actually got worse. Truppen and Rar smashed the submarine into an active volcano, starred in their own adult film, and then swam headfirst into oblivion. And that was the end of Mission 2. Regrettably, I failed in my quest to punish the traitors, but I won't be making the same mistakes next time. But before that, I'd like to take a small break to speak candidly with my audience. Due to the nature of my content, certain advertisers don't want to associate with me. I'm working very hard to figure out exactly why that is, but for the time being, it has made my content more difficult to monetize.
Jesus
Fortunately, I've been able to
Christ.
acquire unidentified powders from a strange internet man. They're very tasty, and they give me all the energy I need to edit videos until I involuntarily lose consciousness. If you'd like to support the channel and try these products, click the link in the description for some free samples, and after that, you can use code REGGIE for 10% off future purchases. I will get money, and you will get a caffeine addiction. Rub it on your skin, put it in your mouth, and even swallow it. Thank you GamerSups for this partnership. Now let's continue the video. I started the mission by trying to lay low. Deep within, I had a burning desire for retribution, but I couldn't let the others find out. So I created a 3-step plan that would allow me to masquerade as a normal human being and gain their trust. You might think this comes dangerously close to manipulation or even subterfuge. However, I subscribe to the immensely utilitarian philosophy of Eddie Guerrero, which is to say that not only is lying, cheating, and stealing an acceptable option, it's the necessary option. But I digress. Step 1 of my plan. Ingratiate yourself with others by throwing military-grade flares at their head. Do you guys want flares? I have lots of flares.
No. Why?
You're welcome, and now it's also more festive.
Don't worry, Truppen. Just pile the shit. I'll protect you.
Step 2. Engage in passive-aggressive dialogue with crew members.
Wait, are we sinking?
Yeah, it's a sub. And finally, step 3. Physically assault Rar with a wrench and then claim it was an accident. This will make me seem relatable.
I think the engine's broken,
No.
but I ain't got a wrench to fix it.
Oh, I can help you. You want a wrench? This is gonna play out like a porno. Oh, sorry, I just smacked you. I apologize. It's a very.
Do you want?
Look, I need some special material because it's been a while. Unfortunately, this last part resulted in Rar accidentally saying Kleeper's activation phrase, which caused him to go into immediate opioid withdrawals. Do you need my help or not?
No, I've got it. You can get out of it, buddy.
Are you sure?
I actually need some morphine, man.
Where's the fentanyl? I need fentanyl.
No, you don't. It's been 3 minutes. You don't need fentanyl.
I need it. I need it.
Fortunately, I managed to calm the situation down by sharing some humorous anecdotes. One time I went to Kleeper and I asked him if he could help me with a math problem, and he pinned me down and injected me with strange chemicals.
Well, one time I asked Reggie for a mechanical problem and he beat me with a wrench.
Well, did it fix it? Is it fixed? With Kleeper's drug frenzy avoided and trust levels now at an all-time high, I could begin collecting information on how to best sink the submarine and exact my
I wonder if they ever got through this game, because this is quite the dysfunctional fucking crew. Like Rubik's Raptor and his friends were at least trying to, you know, get through this game together.
vengeance on these traitorous rascals, which is when Kleeper said this.
Oh, why can I rewire the nuclear fucking reactor?
Dear God, if there was one thing not to do, it would be that.
So obviously, I had to do it. Using only a screwdriver, I could rewire any electronics in the submarine. I could lock doors, turn off the water pump, and even rewire the nuclear reactor to the toaster oven, inevitably resulting in thermonuclear Armageddon the next time someone makes a bagel. Given this, I snuck my way into the nuclear reactor room to inspect the wiring and determine how to best sabotage it. I was, however, interrupted when Rar entered the room and began looking at me suspiciously. Fortunately, I was able to defuse the situation by engaging him in a quasi-homosexual relationship. Hey, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, all good.
Good. Just an engineer and a mechanic just chilling out, you know? Totally heterosexually.
13 engineers.
Yeah, hey, can we touch wrenches?
Ram Ranch.
God.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
What's wrong?
This is true romance.
Yes.
Wait, what?
Actually, I think
We
the
were
airlock's
just touching
fine.
wrenches, man. You said.
You should get tested. That was a close call, but I managed to gather all the necessary information to execute my plan. All I needed now was a suitable distraction, and as if God himself had heard my prayers, we were almost
From what I saw of the other creators, this video is the furthest they got.
immediately attacked by a
So,
swarm of
mission
hyper-aggressive
three.
tadpoles.
Jesus Christ!
The serendipitous timing of this divine blessing had excited me so extremely that I nearly entered an erection-induced coma on the spot, but I resisted the urge and pressed on in my campaign of justice. While my crewmates were busy welding the ship back together, I pretended to be repairing the nuclear reactor, but in reality, I was reconnecting the power output to the nuclear meltdown alarm. Not only would this turn off all the power in the sub, but whenever someone would try to turn it back on, it would instantly trigger a very intimidating meltdown warning, which would hopefully scare them off. This was very confusing for our nuclear scientist.
Try now. Oh god. Meltdown.
And it only got worse when the rest of the crew, frustrated by the lack of power, began bullying Rar for his inability to perform basic nuclear fission.
We have no power. Okay, why we don't have the power?
Yeah, Rar, you foolish bastard, why don't you fix the reactor?
I don't know why this isn't working.
While that was going on, I darted around the submarine, erratically rewiring every door, hatch, and junction box I could find. However, with the crew becoming increasingly suspicious, it was time for me to make my escape. I collected a diving suit and began creeping my way towards the exit, and just in time, because they were beginning to realize what was going on.
Someone be fucking up the connection.
Well, it says the output is high.
Someone put the fucking someone messed with the electrics.
Oh God, Reggie? Reggie?
Someone's been rewiring the fucking...
Reggie, where are you? I got a very special dosage of medication.
I attempted to escape, but unfortunately I forgot that I rewired the escape hatch to be impossible to open. This was a miscalculation on my part. I attempted to break my way through it, but eventually the Grim Kleeper was upon me. I need out of this place, please.
No! Stop! Ow!
He attempted to de-escalate the situation, but all discourse turned necessarily violent when I found out he had infected me with space herpes.
Look, Reggie, Reggie. We can work this out, okay?
gave
we
me
can work
herpes.
this out. I didn't give you herpes. I didn't
You gave me herpes, you son of a bitch.
Eventually, I managed to exit the sub, at which point I equipped a handheld sea scooter and made my escape.
See you later, losers.
Fleeing from the tyranny of the Traitor Legion was a good start, but I felt as though I had a duty to protect humanity from these anomalous and dangerous individuals, which is why I began swimming around the submarine and destroying it with a plasma cutter.
I think we're all good.
Fantastic.
Oh my fucking god, there's a hole here. Someone's using a plasma cutter. Who the fuck's that?
Why did
Hey
you
guys,
go?
Unfortunately, my diving suit wasn't rated for these pressures, so I would black out roughly every 30 seconds, but my fiery devotion to justice always returned me to consciousness. I managed to make 5 large-scale incisions into the submarine, at which point my crew members became visibly upset and decided to send Rar outside to kill me.
We need to get this water out and Reggie shot.
I'm
Graham, where's the
watching him
guns?
do it.
In response, I snuck back onto the submarine, thus leaving Rar to search the vast expanse of the abyss aimlessly. I kept myself busy by systematically dismantling everything in the pump room, but eventually the combination of my uncontrollable laughter and uncreative hints allowed my former crewmates to locate and shoot me about 47 times.
Where you at, Reggie?
I could be anywhere, bro. I could even be inside the submarine right now.
Oh, there he is! Jesus!
As all of my internal fluids quickly became external fluids, I only hoped and prayed that I had done enough to save society from these treacherous psychopaths. Immediately following my death, the crew began trying to harvest my organs for some kind of satanic ritual, no doubt. However, the good news was that my heroic last stand inflicted such irreparable physical and psychological damage that it caused the remaining crew to mutiny against itself. Kleeper finally hit peak psychosis when he attempted to throw the last remaining fuel rods into the abyss.
I don't want you to be mad, but I'm about to drop the last uranium rod off into the abyss, so...
And when Trupin tried to stop him, they entered a life-or-death struggle to determine ownership over Trupin's last oxygen tank.
It's not personal. It's me or you. I need the oxygen tanks. No, stop.
Eventually, Kleeper managed to bludgeon Trupin into unconsciousness, and in one final transgression against the very concept
You know what? I'm not surprised. This is the furthest they have gotten. I love that it's literally space herpes.
of morality, he unequipped Trupin's diving suit, thereby allowing him to be crushed to death by the tremendous water pressure.
So there you go. You don't need that diving suit, right?
No, not this one. I think I am not okay.
Meanwhile, Rar was busy permanently welding the entrance to the submarine closed in an attempt to isolate himself from the avalanche of violence now barreling in on his position. Unfortunately for him, this didn't stop Kleeper from clawing his way through the door like some kind of feral ghoul. In a last-ditch effort, Rar attempted to charge Kleeper with a wrench, but instead had his legs blown off by about 4 consecutive shotgun blasts.
I've got a wrench! Ah, he's got a gun! Oh, God.
In true Kleeper fashion, he then decided to punctuate his string of homicides by unequipping his diving suit and swimming directly into the ocean, inevitably succumbing to none other than barotrauma. This wasn't the happy ending I had imagined. I didn't ride off into the sunset with my water scooter as the submarine went critical and exploded into a trillion pieces behind me. In fact, I spent most of the game bleeding, losing consciousness, and having space herpes. But in the end, we stopped the traitors, and I can finally rest easy knowing that the sun will soon rise again on a grateful world. I want to thank Rar, Trupin, and Kleeper for getting together to work on this. Additionally, big shout out to this month's patrons, and finally, thank you for watching.
I love how there is no, like, it's supposed to be a entirely co-op experience, and, like, people always find ways to turn on each other and, like, yeah, try to find traitors that don't fucking exist.
Can't believe I'm sat in the channel with 2 Seth clones.
Yes. Hey, wait. Let's do a Seth off, and then you guys judge who has the better Seth. Hey, people. Seth here.
Yeah, that was great.
You're not participating?
No. What am I gonna do? Hey, says people.
You fucked it up already. You fucked
Oh, yeah, and this was I Was Trapped at the Bottom of the Ocean with 3 Psychopaths by Reggie. A great look into how barotrauma goes if your friend group is completely unhinged. instead of trying to actually, you know, reach the goal like Rubik's Raptor and his crew. Clipper had a fun comment down below. Let me see. Lies, slander, fabrication. No, Reggie, these 3 psychopaths are trapped at the bottom of the ocean with you. The fact that his last 5 thumbnails are pain, chaos, meat, administer beer, and profit is the best. I pray to the great Lord above you can do this full time. Such a fucking baller, content creator, and huge inspiration. Yeah, I think by now, Reggie is doing this full time. At least I'm pretty sure, because he releases content like semi-regularly, and he has like
Conquest.
And he has like sponsors on most of them, right? Yeah. So yeah, wish granted for that person. Then yeah, Lord knows Reggie fucking deserves it, because yeah, his content is just pure fire. Kepler had a fun Warhammer Skaven video. Breaking the Geneva Convention is the video. If I remember it for the next time, I will definitely put it on the list. But you might need to like remind me, because you know the memory isn't what it used to be. So yeah, that was Reggie and his barotrauma video, and we will be moving on to Games That Don't Fake Space by Jacob. Yeah. Games That Don't Fake Space by Jacob Geller. This channel has been suggested to me in general. I have watched one video of his before, and like it has been the one video of Jacob Geller that I watched was fucking fantastic. So it was the one about the search for the last secret in Shadow of Colossus. And yeah, somebody just requested like a random video of his. I landed on this one, Games That Don't Fake Space, and I am really interested in seeing what this is all about. He makes videos on variety of video game topics, and from what I've seen, like all of them are super interesting. So don't know how this will go over on the channel, but I personally love content like this.
This video is better on Nebula, both because there are no ads and because you can follow it up with an exclusive recording of a live talk I recently gave at my local library. Okay, shh, now the video's starting for real. Sometimes huge feels bigger than infinite. Let me explain. No Man's Sky is more or less infinite. A space game with 18 quintillion planets, a number that, while not technically limitless, approaches the number of planets in our actual universe, a figure so unfathomably large that it shoots right past meaninglessness. I can no more easily conceptualize 1 quintillion planets than 18, or even a billion. It is so big that words fail. But allow me to present a counterexample, a game that has stuck in my brain for years. The racing game Fuel. Developed by Asobo Studios in 2009, Fuel is a fairly middling racing game with mediocre handling and weird opponent AI. And yet, Fuel has a serious claim to fame. The game's map is 14,400 square kilometers, or 5,500 square miles. This is obscene.
Jesus
I've thought about
Christ.
Fuel for more than a decade now, simply because of this staggering number. 120 clicks long, 120 clicks wide, thousands upon thousands of tracks to race upon in the middle. That's 370 times larger than Skyrim, 200 times as large as GTA 5. It is so big that the entirety of a real-scale Mount Rainier sits on the top of the map and hardly even dominates the space. It is as big as Connecticut, or Puerto Rico. And this number still basically rounds down to 0 in comparison to something like No Man's Sky or Elite.
It really reminds me of the first, I think the second Elder Scrolls. What was it? The first one was Arena, and the second one was, I don't remember, but I think the second Elder Scrolls had a map so fucking huge it took you actual weeks of real time just galloping on a horse from one point to the other. But it was mostly, obviously, when you have something so huge, it's mostly empty because you don't have like really the leisure to hand decorate those maps. And on a technicality, that doesn't count for one of the biggest maps, Daggerfall. Yeah. That there is one technicality. That it doesn't count as one huge interconnected map because it's a series of square maps jointed together via loading screen. Morrowind also had that, where if you approach the edge of the current map, you would enter a loading screen to another one. It was basically squares connected to each other. And yeah, Daggerfall was built also like that. It is technically it's one of the biggest maps ever, but it's not seamless. It's not like connected together. It's just series of maps, but it's still fucking impressive. God damn.
Dangerous. But it sure doesn't feel like 0 when you can pick one direction and drive for literally hours. It doesn't feel like 0 when you watch one biome gradually melt into another over the course of miles of road. You might have recognized the name Asobo Studios from another game. They went on to develop Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, a game that literally contains a 1-to-1 scale model of the Earth, one of the most staggering technical achievements I've ever seen. In hindsight, Fuel seems like a test run for this, a huge game created using a mix of procedural generation and satellite imagery that can, somehow, run on console. And while I love Flight Simulator, and have written about it at length, I think this makes Fuel the stranger cultural object. Unlike Flight Simulator, or No Man's Sky, or Elite Dangerous, you don't have access to vehicles that can cross vast distances near instantly. You have a car, a grounded, limited car to cover this landmass, and because your perspective and options are so limited, Fuel still, to me, manages to feel big in a truly radical way. In the decade
Fuel is so weird for this. Like, why so much space on a racing game? Like, you know, it's not even like Elder Scrolls Daggerfall that I brought up. There is point to it because it's like a fantasy RPG, right? So it gives to the idea that you're traversing this vast continent with like full of adventures and dungeons and shit. But like in Fuel, it's a racing game. Why do you need a map that big? Maybe it has like great online, because I know the crew also had like a huge map but it was like primarily a multiplayer experience, so there was an excuse to like drive around with your friends and shit. I've seen a different creator go over the same point. Devmar is making a game called Pentinent, he will probably never finish, but he had a great video called Massive Boss Won't Fit on Screen, and his implementation of such a huge boss is incredible to see when he shows what the intro to the fight is like after his devlog stuff. The point being is that the presentation of the boss is so much more incredible than the otherwise empty infinite world that he might add. Daggerfall also did more to feel like you were in the world. You would fail the main quest, for instance, if you took more than 30 days to reach the bar, if I recall correctly, because your contact would leave. Oh shit, I didn't know that. That's actually kinda cool. A person just got bored and left while you were making your way to get the info. Damn.
After Fuel's release, 2 other racing games with similar missions came out.
I think he's literally gonna talk about The Crew.
Ubisoft's The Crew
Yep.
and The Crew 2. Unlike Fuel, which covers an undefined portion of post-climate disaster America, The Crew makes its map explicit. It is the whole country, from east coast to west, tip to tail.
Man, I always wanted to play The Crew, but I think there is a whole fucking precedent now not to play it ever, because they took down the servers, so I don't know if it was for the first one or the second one, but there is a precedent to like not play Ubisoft online only titles because they might shut down the fucking server. And what if I like the game, you know? Now I wouldn't even want to take the chance.
Kinda. The maps of the Crew games are large, but not nearly as large as Fuel, let alone the United States. To adjust for this, the America of the Crew looks a little like one of those draw the country from memory maps. You can map the road trip of your dreams in this game, but charting a route from, for instance, LA to San Francisco will reveal that one is about 10 miles away from the other. The graphics and detail are a significant jump from Fuel, but in a way that only highlights the artifice. You can hilariously visit many landmarks in the Crew, like Mount Rushmore, which happens to be in a Denny's parking lot, or Mesa Verde, maybe, or my favorite, Niagara Falls, which has been made so modest you can drive over the top of it. Cities demonstrate the same artifice in a slightly different way. Storefronts.
I mean, that is hilarious and looks like video gamey, but I kinda dig The Crew's aesthetic.
Display what appears
Just as a simulator of that trek through America in a fucking car, you know. I'm legit scared of online-only games specifically for that exact reason. I want a game I can come back to whenever. Yeah, I think every single online game that you specifically buy, because, I don't know, Final Fantasy that has like, that is online-only, or like MMOs that are online-only, everybody kinda assumes at one point they will die, right? That's normal, but every game that has that you buy should have an optional offline mode. I don't care if when you play The Crew offline, it's stripped of literally almost all of the features. That should be there so you can play the game and still drive throughout the fucking country when the servers go down, you know? Like recently, that whole discussion was had about Payday because it's online only. And that feels fucking awful, because maybe someday the servers go down and now what? I won't be able to play it on my own, even though it's a game that you can perfectly play solo without friends because you have AI helpers. It's so weird, man.
to be the average of all possible commercial writing, like this one that boasts 50% off, buy one get second one, t-shirts 4 for $5, 15% off. Or this bookstore with a large banner that simply says store and smaller text detailing that it is actually a second-hand.
To be fair, I wish stores in real life worked like this. You just see a store, books, store, clothes. I wish all stores work like that.
And antiquarian electric, or this gift shop that upon closer inspection is actually a grocery store, or this pizza place that has, quote, all flavors. The crew games, while easy to make fun of, are almost certainly more mechanically satisfying than Fuel. The squashing of America down to a handful of iconic cities and the roads in between is a genuinely interesting idea to explore.
Whoa,
but I still come
that
back
was
to
trippy.
Fuel. Because while its cities are even less compelling than the crew and its driving kind of feels like butt, there's this indefinable power to just how big the game is. You can start driving through a dried up Grand Canyon and just keep going and going and going, the cliff walls stretching into the horizon. Fuel refuses to make the landscape small in order to increase density and visual diversity. Simultaneously, it doesn't push its procedural generation so far that it breaks human imagination, creating a quintillion planets consisting of the same basic tropes. It pulls a trick far more stubborn, and yet to me, far more compelling. It refuses to fake the space.
I wonder if he's gonna actually bring up Elder Scrolls in this video, like the older ones, obviously, because he brought up Skyrim as a comparison. I love store. All hail store.
If you are anything like me, you've probably Googled biggest video game maps at some point and run into your own personal conflict.
Oh man.
Counts as some point. And run into your...
I love Metal Gear Solid 5 map, but at the same time I really fucking hate it, because there are parts of that map that are just useless. But that goes for every single like big map. Okay, maybe not Mafia. I think Mafia like is all city and no dead space. Maybe on the outskirts. I don't remember that well. But like I remember, like GTA 5 is a famous example. Like that mountain, like the entire top of the map is, I think, kinda useless. It only exists to make your delivery missions in online a fucking pain in the ass.
Own personal conflict. What counts as big? What's a cheat? What's a technicality?
Love me some
One of
Witcher
the biggest
music.
ever video game maps
God
is
damn.
the Elder Scrolls II Daggerfall,
Hey,
released
there
on
we go.
MS-DOS in 1996. Daggerfall looks like this. It's a world map like this. and is-
Beautiful. He meant to say.
1996. Daggerfall looks like
He meant to say it looks like a masterpiece. Like a fucking master painter took up his brush and through divine inspiration made the most beautiful painting you will ever lay your eyes upon. This is what Daggerfall looks like. I actually really dig all the RPG aesthetics, so I love it.
this. It's a world map like this and is reportedly about the size of Great Britain. And I look at that and think, okay, sure, dude. Daggerfall has several large regions, and the landscape within those regions is entirely procedurally generated. The exceptionally patient YouTuber How Big Is the Map has a video walking across Daggerfall's landmass in real time, and the first of 15 videos in the playlist is 7.5 hours of trekking across identical gray mountains. Each generated world of Minecraft has the potential to be many, many times larger than Earth, but Minecraft is, of course, randomly and procedurally generated. The fact that there's
True, like, people don't usually include Minecraft in that discussion, even though it kinda was created just like fucking Daggerfall, so just, you know, generated. MGS5's map got really cool after I modded the game to increase enemy density by a lot and gave them tanks to drive around in. Oh shit! That sounds cool, I need to try that. Nearly had a heart attack in MGS5 when I sprinted right around a massive boulder and ended up in front of a tank's cannon.
no authorship in a Minecraft world or in the middle of the Daggerfall continent lessens their impact. This rationalization of what feels big and what doesn't is made up and inherently imperfect. Fuel uses plenty of procedural generation. No human decided on the elevation of 14,000 kilometers of terrain. But Fuel's proc gen works in conjunction with satellite data, and the map is ironically small enough that it can still feel huge rather than meaningless. Essentially, what I'm saying here is I'm working more in the realm of what emotionally registers.
But I think it also depends on the game. But yeah, the Daggerfall's huge map doesn't feel that great. It's just a cool claim to fame that they have the biggest map, but yeah, it's mostly just fucking grey rocks.
Big rather than the raw numbers. And while I've talked about map size as a whole thus far, I've actually more often found these moments awe at the sheer size of something hidden in more traditional levels. A single instance of bigness shattering the imposed reality of the rest of the setting. Am I speaking complete gibberish right now? As I'm writing this, I genuinely can't tell. Anyway, a lot of game development is creating the illusion of a holistic space and continuous progression out of several distinct pieces. I remember being mind blown many years ago watching one of these special features on God of War 2, in which they note that if a piece of level isn't visible, it simply doesn't exist. This makes sense for titles with a fixed camera like God of War, but it's not uncommon for any style of game to take what we might consider camera like God of War, but it's not
Man, the original God of War trilogy is kind of funny. When you
common
go back
for
to it now.
Any style of game to take what we might consider shortcuts, building environments based on what the player will see rather than real-world architecture. As digital explorers like the YouTube channel Boundary Break often find, even seemingly straightforward environments like the office of the Stanley Parable are not as they seem. They're essentially games' version of matte paintings or false building facades, ways to communicate a grander space while still staying within the constraints of budget and memory. Because games don't have to abide by real-life physics, they can have fun with this as well. The endless staircase in Mario 64 is an iconic example. Near the top of the castle, the player finds these stairs ascending into the dark and runs up them. The music continuously works its way higher and higher, the paintings rush by, and if you're 10-year-old me, you might run up these stairs for minutes before turning around and realizing you haven't moved at all. It's a trick as simple as it is effective. Mario is being invisibly teleported backwards almost continuously, creating an illusion of infinite ascension with only a single flight. It's fun to think that even in the early days of 3D games, developers were already having fun with tricks of perspective and space. But there are counterexamples to this, a bigness that's not simply a mirage of clever programming. One of the best levels in Silent Hill 2, which by default makes it one of the best levels of all time, is the Historical Society. A museum located off the main road. The first few minutes in the Historical Society are almost normal, at least by Silent Hill standards. Photographs cover the walls of the entryway, offering a bit of background on the town, and of course your old pyramid-headed friend. It is punishingly dark, and a sort of foghorn emanates from the walls, but it's not until you walk through this hole smashed in a wall.
Man, every time somebody brings up Silent Hill 2, the original, I'm just thinking about how the remake is. There is no, like, The developers of the remake have such a fucking mountain to climb, and I don't know if there is equipment in this world that will allow them to take the journey and survive. But I honestly wish them success in their endeavor. But holy shit. Daggerfall also has the coolest way of doing a vampire transformation. You gradually get sicker, watch your stats go down day after day without knowing why until you eventually die. Then you watch the standard death sequence, but instead of getting the game over, you awaken inside the tomb as a vampire with broken stats. Also, you could argue against your crimes in court and possibly win. You could also get a flying horse. Daggerfall was really cool. Man, I never played... I think I played literally the first sequence of Arena, and that was my brush with the old Elder Scrolls games, that being 1 and 2. But at some point I would like to go back and try to get through the story of both of them. I like how the new God of War games unironically present Kratos as the villain of the second and third. I don't know, man. I don't think they do. I mean, he was... he definitely did some fucked up stuff, but I mean, at the same time, he was going against like fucking Ares and Zeus, and they were such fucking pieces of shit that it offsets anything Kratos has done as kind of righteous, because if they were not brought down, shit would be like unbelievably screwed. So, but I get where that energy is coming from, definitely.
That the Historical Society tips its hand. Beyond the hole are stairs that go down and down and down. It is minutes of walking into the black. The foghorn gets more frequent. James' footfalls repeat endlessly. And then, with no celebration, you're at the bottom. In typical fashion, there's not even a big reveal at the end, just another office room. Mario's run up the stairs is accompanied by what's called a shepherd scale, a sort of musical illusion in which a series of notes can be made to climb infinitely by overlapping them an octave apart. The effect is bizarre, to say the least. Click around on a 10-minute loop of the track and every bit sounds identical, but listen to it continuously and you'll swear the notes are working their way up. But the tone can descend as well. As Gareth Damian Martin notes in their seminal piece, The Basement's Basement, Silent Hill 2's descent functions in much the same way as this scale. If you listen to a descending shepherd tone for any length of time, the feeling of being slowly dragged down, almost compressed, is unmistakable. It's that downward movement, the slow decay of a sound. How far can it continue, you ask yourself? How much deeper? But the tone is steady, its slow descent both rapidly falling and yet going nowhere at all. Following the staircase, James falls.
Man, the music from Silent Hill 2 is so fucking peak. God.
Further into the earth, continuously choosing to jump down pits with nothing but dark at the bottom. Silent Hill relishes in the impossibility. After falling miles into the ground, you eventually emerge on the shores of a lake. The spatial absurdity is the point, rapidly falling and yet going nowhere at all. But each pit James jumps into is accompanied by a cutscene and a loading screen, two embellishments that, while necessary, remove us just slightly from the environment. In those jumps, a reminder of Silent Hill's gaminess returns, that the environment is constantly being built around us instead of existing all at once. The staircase is different. There is no load, no movie to separate us from it, and as you might have guessed from this video's topic, the stair doesn't fake it. It's all there, every step rendered in real geometry at the same time. I worked with streamer Brosentia to capture this footage, and his other out-of-bounds footage is more what you'd expect. Half-built architecture, streets that end in nothing, 2D planes to portray distance. But the staircase is just there. This thing is ridiculous, he told me. Nothing else is at all close to this. And I can't get the staircase out of my head, perhaps because the out-of-bounds footage is just as nightmarish as the in-game perspective.
Yeah, I was about to say, this looks fucking surreal. God damn. They talk about him being a monster a lot, and he clearly... Fuck me. Why did my screen go so dark? They talk about him being monster a lot, and he clearly regrets what he did anytime Greece comes up. Ares dies in the first, which is why I only brought up 2 and 3. And while Zeus needed to go, Kratos kills a lot of gods in that one, who either had nothing to do with his grudge, they were fighting the Titan who mostly needed to go, or who just annoyed him. I mean, yeah, like that's part of the character, right? He definitely did the good, righteous thing of killing Zeus, but he killed so many people in the process, like, and that's part of the character. Do the end justify the means? Like, there is the famous scene where, to get a door stuck, he fucking pushes a woman into the gears, crashing her and killing her instantly, so the door gets stuck. And, like, did he need to do that? So, like, he definitely did some fucked up and villainous stuff. But yeah, that's the complexity to his, you could very easily argue, righteous quest that he goes on, right? It's just he kills a lot of people who are not deserving. That's why he says in God of War 2016 or 16 or 18, I'll always forget what year. But the new one, he literally says, I killed many who were deserving and many who were not. Honestly, Kratos is just a more gorier version of a classical Greek hero than a modern actual hero. Also, side note, thanks for viewing a Jacob Geller vid, hope you're enjoying it. Oh yeah, the video is definitely great. And yeah, Kratos is written like a Greek tragedy character. That's why it's so fucking funny when the original creator of Kratos gets so much shit from literally everybody who ever played that game, because he says, no, Kratos is not supposed to be deep, dude. He just kills people. He's badass. What the fuck are you talking about? He's complex. He's a killing machine. And everybody goes, like, by accident you created a very interesting character with so many shades of grey, and you cannot fucking fathom that he is more complex than you wanted him to be. That is wild.
If there is no illusion, no shepherd scale, James in this moment is walking into the bowels of the earth in as real a way as the game allows. Several iconic game moments center around nothing more than this sort of transitory environment, the liminal space, if you will.
The fucking ladder from Metal Gear Solid 3, classic.
Of an exceptionally long journey up or down a single object. The ladder after the end in Metal Gear Solid 3, the ladder back to Yosefka's clinic in Bloodborne, the climb up the stairs of the Shinra building in Final Fantasy VII, the elevator down into the Siofra River well in Elden Ring. Some of these are all there, as with Silent Hill 2. Some are pieced together from multiple different chunks. All are cool and memorable sequences. But when I think about enormous cool...
That Elden Ring sequence was fucking crazy. That feeling that, oh my god, this open world is so huge. And then you go into this fucking elevator and you realize there is an underground that has huge chunks of the map too. And you just go...
Memorable sequences.
So cool.
When I think about enormous transitory spaces, there's only one that matches the energy of Silent Hill. Years ago, I talked about the indie game Naissance, an impersonal and unsettling trek through an endless, brutalist nowhere-scape. My first encounter with the game was in the magazine Heterotopius, fittingly also penned by Gareth Damian Martin. The game's developer said in that magazine that there are no invisible walls in Naissance, and thus, no security. This speaks to how I first experienced the game. It is a challenging, frustrating experience. But on a recent revisit, I took this no invisible walls statement as more of a challenge. Enabling flying in the console commands certainly breaks the game progression, but it doesn't break the world nearly as much as you might think. It just keeps going. This mechanical chasm in the architecture is modeled well above and below what the player is ever able to normally see. In this endless row of identical blocks, you can fly for what feels like miles.
I have never seen or heard about this game, but this looks cool.
This dark...
Kinda reminds me of my favorite, I think, bit of Nier Automata called The Copied City. And it's just like completely untextured white buildings that feel so out of place. I wish that place was bigger.
Electrical Canyon has details a player would never find. But like Silent Hill 2, it's the big staircase that takes the cake. Towards the end of the game, you emerge from a dense ventilation network and are met with these white stairs, going up instead of down, but similarly shrouded in dark. So you start going up, and keep going up, or at least that's what you assume, because it's so punishingly dark that you can barely see the step in front of you, and you do this for minutes on end, even longer than the Historical Society, so long it seems they may truly never end, and then you're at the top. Like Silent Hill, the space defies all expectations. After the endless ascension, you emerge not on top of the mechanical expanse, but somehow at the bottom of a desert, your forever climb landing you in a place that feels lower than you started.
That's so cool.
The stairs are nonsense. They're impossible, and yet they are also all really there. Enabling a wireframe outline allows us to see through the dark, but even it can't display the true scale because the stairs simply fade from view. Like Silent Hill 2's Descent, there's nothing lost by going out of bounds here. In fact, the construction is even more impressive, and even more preposterous. I've found this kind of thing more frequently in indie titles. The more big and expensive a game, the more often it needs to be absolutely optimized, so it can squeeze every drop of hardware power into its intended visuals. In God of War 2, by making everything you can't see non-existent, everything you can see could receive that little extra oomph. But smaller, independent titles, either because they're not as graphically taxing or because they're not subject to the same terms of optimization, have space for all this extra stuff. Sometimes it feels like they're nothing but extra stuff. Sometimes that's the point. The game Babdi, released for free last year on Steam and itch.io, is a game about the extra stuff. The objectives of Babdi are as straightforward as they could be. Get a ticket for the train, tickets are sold out, so get one from your neighbor, leave on the train. The appeal is instead the setting, this cold concrete city block that is so much larger and more vertical than the stated goals of the game
Typical Polish apartment complex.
require. Babdi, the name of the city as well as the game, is a brutalist playground, a place where every balcony can be clambered over, and if you wander the underground enough, you might find people having a trash-fire jukebox dance party. Or you might not. One of the strangely appealing things about Babdi is that as often as there's something to find, your curiosity can also take you into places that end without fanfare. The massive reservoir the city sits on is completely open, and although its corners hold no secrets, there's nothing to keep you out of it either. Eventually I found a pickaxe that allowed me to scale any wall, and my reward was just that, the intrinsic pleasure of finding that yes, every building has a roof, yes, with enough work, I can stand upon the tallest spire. Because Babdi so effectively communicates that every piece of it is real, every piece is there, I never even paused to wonder if the game would get in my way of exploration. Like its entire rundown vibe, the environment of the game feels more or less lawless, that there will be no artificial impediment to wherever you want to.
This kinda reminds me of a thing I used to do when I was younger. Garry's Mod has a lot of these very impressive big maps, and when I was younger I used to I need to do something about this. When I was younger, I used to just no-clip my way across like different buildings and stuff in Garry's Mod, just to, you know, just to see what is up there on that roof, even though it was literally nothing most of the time, because why would there be something up there? And yeah, seeing this footage of this game and him like using a fucking using all these tools to get on those roofs, and there is literally nothing there, you're just kind of standing there, really reminded me of that experience. It's so cool. If you like the aesthetics of those mechanical blocks and the copied city, then the manga Blame sounds right up your alley. It's set in a giant solar system sized derelict structure like that. Heard about Blame before, but never really looked into it. But yeah, that's definitely like my aesthetic, so
go.
maybe I will give it
It's not massive in the way many game cityscapes are massive. It's 1% of a GTA map. But Babdi feels big because its utilitarian art style implies that every building is truly there. Nothing is a hollow facade, nothing fancifully painted with the false textures of civilization. Maybe the best way I can put it...
I love that he has this like fucking scooter or whatever that vehicle is, and you can just jump on it.
The objectives of the game
so
aren't
funny.
indicated by the design of the environment itself. The city doesn't seem built for the player to have an adventure in. It was built, existed, and then sometime later, the player stumbled in. The language I've been using in this video is inherently flawed. I know that. The verbiage of real or fake, illusion or genuine, trick or legitimate isn't suited to video games. A computer is making me think there's a world inside of this flat screen. The whole thing is an unbelievably complicated illusion, a magic trick so impressive we don't even think about it. There is no staircase, there is no Babdi, there is no 14,000 square kilometers of post-apocalyptic wilderness. For the purposes of this video, I've made my scales of realness completely relative. The Historical Society's stairs are real only when compared to Mario 64. It goes back to what I said at the beginning. This is about what feels real, what emotionally registers as big. And in using this language so loosely, I think I've completely shot myself in the foot for the last game I want to talk about. Because the thing about Anor Londo, the shining city atop the world of Dark Souls, is it's all an illusion. In lore, in the game's reality, what we are looking at is fake. The dazzling sunlight vanishes when questioned, the castle's polished halls fall into shadows, and it goes further, because under that illusion is another, kept in a crypt far beneath the throne room. A massive statue blocks the way, only to fade with the sun or in the presence of a special ring. When it disappears, it reveals, what else? A staircase down. But the stairs aren't the notable part here. Beyond the door at the bottom lies Dark Sun Gwendolyn, one of my favorite Souls bosses purely for visual splendor. It is a fight based on illusion. Gwendolyn curses you for entering, and then throws the back of the hallway into the infinite, the statues on the wall repeating endlessly as they vanish into the horizon. The fight is one of the rare instances where Dark Souls transcends into the environmentally surreal, and accordingly, one of its most conceptual battles. Gwendolyn only has a few attacks, and no real close-range ability. Instead, every time...
I know what he's gonna talk about, because the thing about this boss, Dark Sun Gwendolyn, I remember if you struggle with this boss and go for advice on the internet, somebody will inevitably bring up that this hallway is actually real and it has an endpoint, because he keeps teleporting back when you reach him and start beating on him with your sword. And one of the advices that people give for this boss is that you can literally just make him teleport enough times that he will back himself up into a corner that he cannot fucking escape from, and you can just bash his head in.
Time you get close, the boss teleports away, giving you time to only get in a few strikes before running again down the endless hallway. After Gwendolyn falls, the hall returns to normal. The end and its ensuing rewards are revealed to be just a few dozen yards away. On first blush, I assumed this hall was more or less like the Mario stairway. After all, that's what the imagery basically implies. You're trapped.
He's gonna talk about just what I said.
In an endless illusion, run all you want and you'll never escape. But that's not true. Going out of bounds during the cutscene reveals the normal hallway swapped for this. It's a combination of clever framing and brute force of scale. The original hall is replaced with a Wile E. Coyote-style false ending, which is then shot down the new mile of architecture the game just spawned in. And this isn't just for looks. You can, if you are both stubborn and focused enough, take the boss fight all the way to the end of this passage. You can chase Gwendolyn until both of you are backed up against this brick wall all the way at the end, at which point the boss AI basically breaks. There is a canon ending to this fight, in which you push Gwendolyn's endless hallway until it falls apart, and then you just stand, swinging limply at each other, incredibly far from where you started. This is what's so fascinating about games, and so challenging about this language of real versus fake I've tried to build around it. Because we know it's an illusion. In the game, it's supposed to be a trick, and yet look at it. There it is, hundreds upon hundreds of statues in perfectly ordered rows, as or more real as anything else in the game. Gwendolyn faked the space. Dark Souls did not. The other day...
It's so fucking funny that some of the official advice people give for that boss is literally, just run after after him till the end of the corridor.
I booted up Fuel. I told my computer to open all the countless miles of road.
Man, he is really obsessed with that fuel again. I mean, it does sound pretty special, so. But yeah, it's a little bit funny.
From 2009, and I just started driving. It is an inherently silly thing to do, burn fake gasoline on the bluffs of a fake desert without so much as a fake objective to give me direction. But as false night passed into false day, passed into false night again, I thought about movie scenes with the special effect of hundreds or thousands of real actors, the illusion of an entire world built temporarily for a single scene, the trick of genuine acrobatics, falls, explosions, captured once to be replayed again and again. As I drove through the artificial walls of a canyon constructed out of digital triangles from actual satellite data, I reflected on our ability to understand something as false and true at the same time, an artistic representation that tirelessly reproduces the space it simultaneously abstracts. There is no aesthetic failing in illusion. The success or failure of a project rests on its emotional communication, no matter the strategies used to achieve it. But still, knowing that when I walk down those stairs in Silent Hill 2, every step really exists before me, sends a wonderful little chill down my spine. Knowing that there are no hollow buildings in Babdi makes the whole tiny city more enthralling. Every game fakes its space in one way or another. But I will always love stepping outside the bounds and marveling at how the trick might be that there's simply no trick at all. Okay, this wasn't an intentional connection for this essay, but I recently gave a talk in a real space for the very first time. Even if this talk is bad, please do not unsubscribe, because last month I was lucky enough to speak to a couple hundred people at the Durham Public Library in a talk I loosely titled A Beginner's Guide to Game Analysis. Am I bragging a little? Sure, but I am also excited to tell you that the full recorded talk is now available on Nebula, both the scripted part of it and the 40+ minutes of Q&A afterwards, featuring super thoughtful and interesting questions from the audience. Nebula sponsored this video, and Nebula has allowed me to do so much cool bonus content this year, from cooking videos to whole additional essays to now, hosting my recording of this live talk. It's a healthier, more sustainable streaming ecosystem that I'm proud to be a part of. It's also, here's the thing you might not know, cheap! Follow my link in the description to get a solid 8 hours of exclusive content from me and countless hours of other creators' exclusive series, movies, classes, and more for just over $2 a month. Doing a talk at a local library was a very specific dream of mine, but the fact that it was, local, left a lot of people out. Now you too can see me walk through how I'd come up with an essay about Elden Ring, make jokes about Animorphs, and answer all sorts of great questions from an audience that you can't see them in the video, but they are actually there, I promise. I wasn't just giving a talk in an empty room. You're gonna have to trust me on this one. Anyway, Nebula. Watch my talk, watch a whole heap of other exclusive videos, support creators like me for just over $2 a month. And then go support your own local library. It's just a good thing to do.
Oh man, I support the fuck out of my local libraries, because libraries in Belgium have a shit ton of video games for consoles you can borrow, and like they have some of them literally have games that came out just a couple months ago. Like, I remember looking through the list of games, and one of the libraries in my area has the new Final Fantasy like remake part 2, which came out like 1 or 2 months ago, and that's crazy that I can just borrow that for like essentially $6 a year. Not to mention like all of the other like book-based resources, movies, and man, libraries are fucking awesome. I'm assuming there's not gonna be anything. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Great video by Jacob Geller. Like I said, some of his video, I watched at least one of his videos, but a lot of videos of his have been recommended to me, at least as a like a thumbnail pop-up on the somewhere on the right, you know, because I used to watch and still watch sometimes these long form video essays. Joseph Anderson is one example. Like, he has insane videos. He had like a 3.5 hour video about Witcher 2 that I watched in its entirety. Great stuff. And usually Jacob Geller would pop up in recommended alongside those. So I seen a couple of his videos, like at least got recommended to me. Games that don't fake space, I don't think I saw. And holy shit, what a great surprise. And yeah, just a cool introspection into a really cool topic about, you know, the physical space of video games that we play. And yeah, not much to say about this other than I will have to come back to this video and like note down the names of the games he played and mentioned, because those are some cool looking games that I would be interested in. Holy. And yeah, I'm gonna take a second of a break, just go to the bathroom, grab myself something to drink, and we'll be moving on. So yeah, for people watching later on YouTube, thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you as always in the next one. And for the people on the stream,
This video is
A worm crawled up.
for the people on the stream, please hang tight as we will be moving on to System Shock 2 review by MandaloreGaming when I come back from my short time away from keyboard. So yeah, be right back, guys. Hassan's stream? Man, the video... What are you talking about? The video was not running in the background. So it's more... when it's an empty chair and the video is paused, it's more like an XQC or Asmongold stream. Hey, what's up, Potara? So yeah, I'm back and we will be getting into System Shock 2 review by MandaloreGaming. Really wanted to see what he has to say about the sequel compared to like his review of the enhanced edition. XQC leaves it running too, doesn't he? Not that it makes much difference to when he's there. I don't know, XQC, like, I think it depends, but he definitely, like, pauses the things, much more often than Hassan does. What am I doing? I'm reacting to videos, some of them requested by people in the chat. Some of them are just out of my own curiosity. So if you guys have like any suggestions for what I should react to, you can drop them in the chat. I will take a look at them either like now just to get an idea as to what that is, or most of the time put them on the watch later list and look at them on the next stream, which usually stream on the weekends, either Saturdays or Sundays like now. For me it's the morning, it's the only time I have really time to stream. So, and yeah, speaking of which, System Shock 2 review by MandaloreGaming. Like I said, I played System Shock 2, like, I got pretty deep in there, and I was really disappointed that going with my, like, hacking things, like, I specialized into hacking or psionic powers, I don't remember which one, but it turned out to be a shit idea compared to just a regular soldier dude, and I was very disappointed by that in this game. So I wonder if he will actually mention that. So yeah, let's get in there.
A worm crawled up my arm and rested on my neck. When he whispered into my ear, I felt a tingle. He told me how to make a weapon that would help us against our enemies. And here's the thing, it's made of worms. It even fires worms.
How do I recommend things? Oh, just type it in the chat. Like either a creator or a specific video you would like me to react to.
But it stings like you wouldn't believe.
System Shock 1 was a fantastic game. A well-designed sci-fi dungeon crawler with plenty of options and freedom. Like Ultima Underworld before it, it could have gotten a sequel
Man, that fucking HUD is something else, man.
that was basically the same game again, just with some new additions and features. Instead, it didn't get a sequel for 5 years, and it resulted in a very different game. For one, it was a joint venture between two companies, Looking Glass and Other Looking Glass. Irrational Games was founded by 3X employees of LGS who are now back working with their old team, just as a partner company rather than employees. The game itself was being developed using the Dark Engine. At the same time, the Dark Engine was being made for Thief 1. So you may notice quite a few similarly shaped enemies or the same animations being used back and forth. Thief 1 fed System Shock 2, which in turn fed Thief 2. The entire stealth system is still in the game, you're just short a light gem and some levels that truly support it. It is ironic that System Shock 1 was built off the back of a fantasy game, and now 2 is doing the same. I'm not making any kind of asset counter, but if you see one you can take a shot or something. But it is worth pointing out because it can explain some weirdness. Ever wondered why mutants hold shotguns like that? Well, now you know. Naturally, both engines had some issues on modern hardware, but System
Man, I never realized that when I was playing.
Shock 2 has
Holy-
been better taken care of officially. Both the Steam and GOG versions are updated with New Dark. However, you can make your experience much better. So let's get started. Now, no matter what, you should really want to download System Shock 2 tool. This makes sure you have the latest and best community New Dark version of the game. It fixes engine issues, gives you better default controls, and automatically upgrades you to EAX sound. Even if you are the purest solely for Procreation vanilla player, you should have this tool. But it also includes a mod manager. If you saw my Thief videos, you know I'm very particular about this kind of thing. Mods are great, but if it's your first time playing a game, especially a classic like this one, you don't want to mod yourself out of knowing what it's like. I've replayed this game a lot over the years, and these are the ones I now never play without. If it's your first time playing the game, you'll also be safe. This game had a lot of development issues and could have used some more time to polish things up. That's the goal of the community patch. For one, it has an absurd amount of fixes built into it. Misaligned or floating objects, engine issues, they're all gone. They enhanced how the lighting works, cleaned up effects. It's kind of insane how much there is, and I can't really properly list them all out. That said, there are some gameplay changes, but they're ones that make sense. Let me give some examples. In vanilla, hacking security disables local turrets and cameras. Except if there are two turrets in a room and you hack one over, they'll both activate and start murdering each other. In the patch, that doesn't happen and they both sit there like you'd expect. Also, cameras don't just stay green and keep swinging around like they're still functioning, they turn off. This adds some extra challenge.
Yeah, that's so annoying, man. I recommend a short called Excuse Me, Mr. Rhyhorn. Sure, I will take a look at it as soon as I'm done with this video.
Because it's now easier to miss turned off cameras. So if you hack an area and you're not careful, you'll be in for some fun on the way back. If you skip training in the beginning, you'll no longer have help stations around.
I can all but guarantee he won't recommend the graphics improved mod. Oh, the weird one you talked about that makes the female enemies topless. For
Most of the
some
developers weren't
reason.
fond of them. Some upgrades were buffed to make them more attractive instead of useless. Fire-based attacks can finally get rid of those fucking bees. Surgical beds finally get rid of toxin, dripping acid hurts you. You can click drag the game pig.
Okay, so there is balance in the mods he listed. There are balance updates, so if I played with those, my complaints about my build probably wouldn't be so bad.
It doesn't radically change the gameplay or throw things out of balance. It just makes it better. They've been at this for years and they know what they're doing. So when they recommend a graphical mod, which itself recommends another one, you can trust that. I'm extremely wary of texture overhauls your first time through, and when it came to Thief, I couldn't recommend any of them. So believe me when I say the Shut Up Object Replacer is exceptionally good. It replaces object textures with higher resolution ones that don't break the art style.
Oh man, that looks fucking good.
The same thing goes for the 400 Terrain Replacer. The differences can be subtle at a quick glance, which I guess is ideal for how it should be. If you're still on a really old PC, it's not something you desperately need, but it's nice to have if you take the time for it. There are great graphic mods that cover everything from plants to weapons, but I typically don't use all those and I won't for this video, because eventually things do start looking out of place and enemies especially aren't high resolution enough to keep up. There is one enemy graphical mod, but well, some liberties were taken with the art style and oh Jesus Christ. So that's as
I'm assuming that's the mod you mentioned.
mod, but well, some liberties were taken with the art style and oh
I'm assuming that is the one. Oh my god.
Jesus Christ. So that's as far as I go here. Also, the patch mod has the real shotgun mod on the same page. The original shotgun enemy had the weapon as part of the model, so you'd loot the shotgun off, but it would like still be on the body and it was just weird to look at. So that game breaking issue is fixed. Your mod manager should look something like this. I'll pin links and stuff in the top comment to make this all super easy. So with that all done, let's get into the game proper. System Shock 1 is recapped in about 20 seconds. The rogue AI Shodan took over Citadel Station and tried to wipe out humanity. She was stopped by the hacker. You're all caught up, so what's happening this round?
I'm doing my part. Are you?
February 3rd is the day the magic happens. The Von Braun, the first starship in history capable of traveling at faster than light speed, will undertake her maiden voyage. This incredible journey is the result of teamwork between the UNN Protectorate and the incredible scientific minds at the newly relicensed Tri-Optimum Corporation. Imagine being able to travel to distant star systems in a period of weeks. It's all part of Tri-Optimum.
Oh man, this has that good old feeling of Starship Troopers and Helldivers, which obviously is heavily inspired by the aforementioned movie.
Commitment to the future. The Von Braun is packed with over 1.8 billion flight, scientific, and security systems, nearly all developed by Tri-Optimum and its wholly owned subsidiaries. Providing security for the Von Braun as she plows through the heavens will be the UNN Rickenbacker. At her helm will be no less than Captain William Bedford Diego himself, hero of the Battle of Boston Harbor during the Eastern States Police action. This incredible union of government and corporation is made possible by an intricate series of docking mechanisms that will allow the Rickenbacker to piggyback its way into jump space. Sleek, fast, revolutionary. Who knows what wonders await our crews in the bosom of the cosmos? All we do know is that it's a great day for mankind.
Oh, there'll be some wonders. But before you go aboard the Von Braun, you have character creation to do. You start the game on Earth at a UNN training facility. You can explore a bit here, learn the controls, play the tutorials, and from here you choose your branch of the military. This is where things get a little vague and tricky, so let me explain. I don't think there's an agreed upon point exact best character build, but System Shock 2 definitely has lots and lots of wrong character builds. It can also be easy to make a mistake your first time through. Some players go through training and find out their character has no idea how to use a pistol, though that is viable. The repair skill lets you fix items and weapons that are completely broken, but keeping them from breaking needs the maintenance skill. This already seems iffy, but now—
Oh man, I forgot. It's doing the Deus Ex thing where there are so many skills that do different things when different very specific things, while only some of them are useful. I actually forgot it's like that.
add on, there are some auto repair items floating around. You can guess what I've never put a skill point into in my life. System Shock 2 repair makes Deus Ex swimming look like Fallout speech. Okay, no, that's too psychotic. Shock 2 repair makes Deus Ex swimming look like Fallout speech.
Holy fuck, that's a sentence. Oh my god.
Okay, no, that's too psychotic. The point is, even if you go through the manual to find out how all the skills work, you won't know how the game works until you just get in and play it. Deciding to restart and rebuild your character an hour in isn't anything unusual. This is also a good time to mention how the difficulty settings work. Once again, there are some similarities to Thief, but nothing quite as in-depth. The enemy AI isn't affected and their stats don't go up. Instead, your starting health and space magic pools will go down. On Impossible, you're easily one-shot by the first enemy you see. Difficulties also include very slight map changes. Something like a security station to hack into might not be there when things get harder. Enemies will spawn more frequently, but they'll also drop less loot. The violence is escalating and so is the prices of items in the stores. Really out there sci-fi stuff. Despite all of that, I think the biggest change comes from how you can actually develop your character. This is because throughout the game you receive cyber mods, which are basically just your skill points. You can then visit your local Tesla diaper changing station to enhance your abilities. You get the same number of mods per game, but like the store prices, the cost to upgrade also goes up. Buying new skills is usually more expensive than upgrading, and this just makes that harder. The scarcity adds more tension, so it's great if you're experienced. However, this does have some playstyle drawbacks, which I'll talk about more in detail later. If you don't know the game, it's easier to make a sillier character that's harder to recover from. If you're thinking that skill balance sounds important, you're right. So what if I told you the initial branches indicate nothing? You won't know what you'll start off with until you take the plunge. You'll receive 3 sets of 3 different assignments. They tell you what skills you gain and each represents a year in a military career. They even have nice little lore bits of what you did. Each branch is still very geared around creating a certain class of character. So here's the quick rundown on each. The Marine Corps is self-explanatory. You go to Camp Lejeune to avoid snake pits and be screamed at by men with no foreheads, and for this you get a standard weapon point. Your first choices are mainly around which weapons to use and how to maintain them. You can start the game with a grenade launcher. The Navy also gives you a standard weapon point, but you have options to make a more sciencey or hackerman character. So it can be similar to a Marine build, just with less Crayola chaos. As for the OSA, I don't know what the hell happens in there, but they make you a space wizard. This is the interesting branch to go into. You typically go here to make a space wizard because if not, the other 2 branches are usually a better choice. Now you can play the entire game not knowing what magic is and not being shoved in a locker. I'm still not sure how magic works, much less space magic, because my local bookstore is still being shoplifted. I don't know what the hell is happening there. Anyway, Anyways, the opposite magic because my local bookstore is still being shoplifted. I don't know what the hell is happening.
I mean, man, listen. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is my fucking Bible, okay? And Joseph Joestar is my personal fucking savior.
Happening there. Anyways, the opposite is also true. You can spec into Psyker powers and never have to pick up a gun during the game, because fireballs don't need a conceal permit, neither does the brain sword. There are lots of powers to learn, but there is some trickiness to managing them. It's a very different playthrough worth doing, but not really recommended for a first-time player. It's very different. There are so many layers to character progression.
And I did, and I wasn't really happy with it.
And difficulty and how it all ties into the systems. I'll come back to it later, but wow, that's a lot to start off with. Especially when the first game just had the screen and then you were in. I can still appreciate just how much work they put into the character creation segment. A lot of effort was put in to immerse you into the story and the universe. And this is following a game where you could flat out turn off the plot. Speaking of, let's get back to that. In your 4th year of service, you're assigned to the Rickenbacker to escort the Von Braun. With Trioptimum at the helm, it's going as well as you'd expect.
Reinitializing memory strings.
Steady yourself, soldier. This is Dr. Janice Polito of the computer ops staff of the Von Braun. You're safe for the time being. You're recovering from the effects of surgery and will be unable to remember any of the events of the last few weeks. You're on board the starship Von Braun and something's gone very, very wrong.
Damn, he's kinda fake though.
You're on board the starship Von Braun.
Yo, look at those fucking thunder thighs, man. Holy, what kind of training was he on?
And something's gone very, very wrong. Some kind of force has hijacked this ship. That's why you volunteered to be implanted with some experimental cybernetic implants. Rely on your cyber interface. It just might save your life. You must find an elevator and come up to Deck 4 to meet me. Deck 4. Can you remember that? But keep your eyes open. They're after us both now.
And so it begins. The Von Braun made a stop at Tau Ceti 5 to investigate a mysterious signal. This signal was the work of an alien life form only known as the Many. They're hellbent on assimilating the crew and wreaking havoc for reasons unknown. It's you and Dr. Polito against them all. Looking back at Vanilla for a moment, the graphics are pretty nice looking for 99. Then again, in this case, even Vanilla is still using the new Dark engine. And with the game being patched over the years, there are subtle differences compared to an actual CD copy. Plus, I'll be playing a modded copy anyways, so if you're looking for technical purity or something, I don't know, go to Plymouth. The environments still look pretty good, but the shortcomings definitely come from the character models. And really, this is still from a much later perspective. Fidelity gets out of date, but design is for
All part of the surgery. Protein consumer training. Yeah, with that, with the emphasis on oomer in that consumer.
forever. And the enemies have outstanding art direction. Well, except maybe the spiders. You could go a lot more horrifying with an alien spider. But that's okay, because they are awful in different ways. It's quite the
It reminds me of Resident Evil 2, where you would go through the fucking zombie-infested city and all of the horrible mutants and stuff, and then a fucking spider attacks you in the sewer, and it's just a really big spider.
And I don't want to spoil all of it. Like Thief before it, the environments are definitely the strongest aspect. The Von Braun is a clean, ideal future Star Trek ship. Or at least it was before the Many showed up, which gives everything a creepy contrast. This was a high-tech science ship, so it's sterile, but there were still places for people to relax comfortably. So you have this effect where one room can look completely pristine, and the next one has a slasher film massacre in it. There are plenty of sci-fi horror games, including ones I love, that have really creepy-looking environments. Dirty, dark, industrial. System Shock 2 has those as well, but it goes to an exact opposite so often. Clean, well-lit, and sometimes something is wrong. Sometimes something is very wrong. It's unsettling in a way I don't see games or even movies or TV do that often. Nowhere feels safe. You don't have a sectioned off scary dark place and a secure bright one. An enemy could be wandering over to kill you at any moment. You're kept on your toes constantly, and how uncluttered a room is indicates nothing. Think you're safe? Think again. This pool reminds me of something. Oh god. Just excellent attention to detail all around. The game has an atmosphere quite unlike any other one I've played, and that uniqueness has stood the test of time. It could be that everything is being elevated by the excellent audio design. If you're lucky, you'll be hearing the enemies before you see them.
Join us! Your song is not ours.
I kinda took this for granted from my memories, but Jesus Christ, seeing it now after all those years, System Shock 2 really looks... I mean, this is modded, right? But, like, it's still the game looks and sounds really fucking clean. Like, the atmosphere is just, you can
These might be the most nightmare fuels.
Literally drink the atmosphere, man.
Cyborgs. Might be.
You seek your associates, but you cannot find them.
You are so very alone.
The voice acting is that looking glass scale of extremes. Some lines still have that "who do we have today in the office to do them" effect, but luckily not too often.
I got called up around 0430 to help unload the shuttle coming back from Tau Ceti. Kerenskin was there alone. Jesus, what the hell happened to him? He'd lost most of his hair, and you could see these lumps on the side of his neck. And that smell. I told him he should go see Dr. Watts, but he told me to mind my own business.
Then you have some of the most effective, scariest shit on the planet.
They have so many miracles to share, so much knowledge to give. They told me how to make this implant. They said it would make a better me of me. I wish I had more time so I could give it to them. Please don't. Glory to the many. I am a voice in their choir.
Jesus fucking Christ, that's metal.
What makes it more horrifying is a lot of the enemies you encounter don't actively want to fight you. They could be a reprogrammed weapon or transformed against their will. Most of the mutants you encounter are desperately trying not to hurt you, and they're losing. It goes that extra mile to add more horror to them. They're already pretty ugly. The ambient sounds of the ship keep you on edge. The music can be subdued and tense, and then suddenly, something breaks the silence. A ton of effort was put into a tense, horrifying atmosphere. To this day, it shows up on Scariest Games of All Time charts. Some people see those, get hyped up, and go in expecting Silent Hill. Then, when they first properly enter the ship, they hear the music. A lot of people weren't mentally prepared for the rave. Most of the soundtrack is electronic and the most late 90s techno it could be. It's always been a divisive topic. Understandably, some people don't find it fitting to the atmosphere, but it's a sick soundtrack.
I mean, where's the lie? That is some fucking tunes, man. But yeah, that positively fucking ruins the atmosphere.
There are a large amount of people who recommend turning the music off, but as I said before, there is a good variety of tension music, and I can't imagine the mood of some levels without it. The techno quiets down and the tension builds. It's hard to put my feelings into words on this, because yeah, how the music is implemented is very strange at times, but it's really only that way if you're trying to confine it into a horror genre. But viewed as a sci-fi action RPG, it's perfectly fitting. A lot of 90s shooters had big scary monsters to shoot at. While it might have a scare or two, you don't hear many people today call the original Doom a horror game. Then you have something with a lot more overt horror elements like Quake, but most people now would just call that a shooter. But Quake can have some amazing tense atmosphere. It could be that those elements were so well done in System Shock 2 that it catapulted it into a label. It is still trying to be a sci-fi dungeon crawler. Maybe the tracks would have gone over better if they were spaced out differently, because it is weird to encounter your first monster while hearing a Matrix rave, but it solidified in my brain to where I couldn't imagine this any other way. I did learn something interesting that could tie into this. After my System Shock 1 video, I was contacted by someone close to Greg LaPiccolo. He was Shock 1's composer and sound guy, and he had some thoughts on why the music was so strange. It sounds weird because it was never designed to be exported this way. It wasn't just the MIDI pack you used, it was also your sound card. Your sound card was supposed to be assembling and altering tracks from individual MIDI components. So it was dynamic music, but based on a lot more than I thought it was. It would change based on location, sure, but also other parameters, such as how alerted the enemy was, how much control Shodan had, how angry Shodan was with the player, and these could be subtle differences. I didn't know how deep these went, and apparently nobody else did either. To quote the email, nobody really noticed or appreciated it, so it wasn't brought back for System Shock 2. I mean, when you make something that intricate, nobody notices, I can get the sentiment. Could developing on that made a more audio...
Okay, that makes more sense in context of System Shock 1, because some of that music was just penis in your ear, you know? Just straight up penis tunes.
Consistent game? Sure, maybe. But our ears failed them. It's revenge techno.
The Discord.
The audio can be compressed, and there are pops here and there, but the overall quality and variety and layers still more than hold up. You can turn the music down if you want, but it'd be a real shame to play this game without hearing it. At least give it a shot. So you have a game already drawing you in with great visuals and sound. Now stack some solid gameplay on top of that. It controls very smoothly, though it still has that Dark Engine weirdness where you move faster diagonally. While the interface has improved over System Shock 1, the depth is still there. You've still got your CVS receipt of hotkeys, you can still play minigames on the screen, and additionally they added inventory management, which you did sort of have in the first game when it came to weapons, but overall you could carry an absurd amount of stuff in that one. Now every item takes up grid space, from booze to bullets. How much you can carry at all depends on your character's strength. What you can do is dependent on your character's skills. In the previous entry, you can explore around looking for new upgrades. Finding them helped you progress better, but you absolutely didn't need most of them. In 2, there are parts where you need to upgrade yourself to progress through the story. There's a part where you need the hacking skill, or at least an ice pick. There's also the part where you need to research a toxin. They're not huge moments, but they're a striking change from before. This is a full-fledged RPG. You've got wearable equipment like different types of armor. Implants can be installed to increase stats or boost different kinds of skills. There's software to plug in, which is separate from implants. There's the one-time upgrade operating system stations. These can flat out buff you with higher damage, more inventory space, or give you more choices, like 2 implant slots. How you play the game and view the game world can be dramatically different based on these choices. This is the game's greatest strength and its weakness. There is a lot of variety, and the community patch tried to make some directions more viable, but you still get the sense there's a certain kind of character this game was made for. Sure, you could create a super hacker character, but you don't really need those points maxed out. At the same time, playing the game without any hacking skill makes me feel naked. There's so much benefit to having some hacking, but not a ton in maxing it out. A lot of the skills scale in this weird kind of way. The research skill lets you study certain items. A lot of them are enemy organs that give you a damage boost against them, which is very good, but no, you can't sell the organs. Okay, but there is more to it. Besides insides, the many have strange new technology. Weapons, implants, armor. They have some deadly items, especially in the Crystal Shard, which is the most dangerous melee weapon in the game. The other items require much higher research and a higher skill investment. They also require an exotic weapons skill, which you can't spec into until about halfway through the game. They also have the least amount of available ammo.
It even fires worms.
And they still aren't really as effective or versatile as something like standard weapons. The best one you get is near the end of the game, and it still needs to be maintained with a fairly high skill. Compare that to a weapon set that will always be effective throughout the entire game with plenty of ammo. You would think a higher investment might give you something more cool if you suffer during the early game, but not really. I mean, look at how hard research tapers off. You research more than half the items in the game with one level that you need. Research tapers off.
Damn, boy. That is fucking awful return for an investment. Holy shit.
You research more than half the items in the game with one level that you need. Research already requires you to backtrack to chemical rooms for materials, so you're going through the ship more doing this. Moving some buffs to higher research levels would make sense. A flat damage bonus across all weapons makes up for them not spending the points specializing yet. This is all just one example, but probably the biggest one. The final tier of psi powers have things that would be useful earlier on, but not really at the end game, and just stuff like that. The point is, between this and weird skills and item availability, something has always felt off about the balance. This is more noticeable the higher the difficulty goes because you have less points to spend. When it's easier, you have more leniency. You work towards short-term goals.
This is very interesting. I never seen the best weapon also can't hurt the enemies in the zone right after you get it in the original release. Holy shit. This is interesting on some level, right? Because I never seen another RPG thing where you should invest into many different skills rather than just specializing in your own tree. Because this sounds like, oh, you should get one or 2 points into research, 1 or 2 points into weapons, 1 or 2 points into maintenance, right? 1 or 2 points into hacking. Like he said, but never go full in, just literally play the jack of all trades, the kind of custom character that you are very discouraged from playing in any other RPG. It sounds very unintuitive or like backwards, you could say. So weird.
And can reasonably try out a lot of stuff, whereas when things get harder, your point decisions are so much more crucial. So looking at it through an RPG standpoint, this is messy. It feels like there's supposed to be an intended way to play, but not exactly. I'd guess most players would enjoy this game by first rolling a gun hacker character, then later going back to experiment. The issue is there's initially nothing to indicate the game will be this way. People make a build that sounds fun, they get their ass kicked, and then later find out that you're not supposed to try that until later. While the interface does look like a dialysis machine, System Shock 1 is so much more straightforward. You explore around, find new tools, and decide which ones to use by experimenting. You don't find out you're getting own zoned because you fucked up your tax returns. There is cryptic, unbalanced bullshit which has rightfully thrown off some newcomers. That said, if you can get over that hump and figure things out, this game is rad as hell. The survival horror aspects are strong, and the Von Braun is a complete death trap. From audio logs you find, it's clear the ship wasn't ready for the journey, but in eternal corporate dumbass fashion, they went anyway. Maybe the biggest shortcoming was the ship's AI Xerxes. To prevent another Shodan situation, plenty of flaws and backdoors were intentionally built into him. He was so insecure that the crew would hack into him and make him sing Elvis Presley songs, which was harmless until the many came aboard the ship. The turned crew members got Xerxes on their side. He's another unwilling casualty of the many. He announces schedule changes and protocol and other routine stuff. Then he starts praising his new god and saying you won't escape in the same tone.
Security forces have been alerted to your presence, intruder. The glory of the many demands your capture or destruction.
Not only are the mutants against you, but also all the onboard machinery. Your work is cut out for you. Cameras can raise alarms that send out hordes of enemies. You're ambushed in all kinds of unpredictable ways. Right when you think you have a trick figured out, the game might have a new way to twist it. That nowhere is safe feeling is constantly reinforced, yet it's not horribly punishing in an obvious way. The restoration bays are back and most levels have one to go to, so if you do die you come back losing only a bit of money, which doesn't sound too harsh, but you are losing some resources. There might be new enemies on the way back to where you were. And again, you won't always have this. Your money, which is nanites, is essential. You need it for hacking attempts, to modify weapons, and of course to use the replicator stores. Every bullet shot is a bullet spent. Shock 2 is excellent at making you keep a tally of what you have in the back of your brain. Features like weapon degradation that the team was conflicted on help serve that purpose. You scavenge around for weapons and you might find a better version, but it's more degraded. The use of weapons needs to be spaced out and how they'll fit in your inventory. You could have a Harry Potter duel with a monkey, but you're wasting your brain power. Everything outside of hitting a bad guy with a big
Fucking Harry Potter duel with a monkey.
Has a cost.
Damn.
Even then, some enemies explode or have other nasty effects if you kill them in melee. Your trusty wrench and other hit gear never degrades, but some dialogue implies it might have at some point in development. If pure melee sounds like the full way to go, I've tried it. Making a psychic punch man is fun eventually, but there's going to be noticeable levels of suffering on that path. The close quarters build won't be a way to escape from being resource starved. It feels amazing when a last-second plan comes together, and System Shock 2 is full of opportunity for those. The skill system truly does shine at times, and there can be all kinds of ways to get through the same obstacle. What's a horrible annoyance in one playthrough can become resources in another. Or lunch. When it all comes together, it's pure joy. For being one of the first games with all these systems and the openness, it pulled it off really well. It easily could have been a disaster rather than kind of messy and off balance. Maybe you shouldn't take my word on balance, because every time I replay this game, I always get bamboozled by this jump, and I don't know why. Every time I replay it, I forget, and I usually die there. What is unfortunate is the amount of jankiness the game still has. Even with years of community patches, enemies can glitch and freak out, hitboxes can be ridiculously huge, but sometimes they're obscured in weird ways, and even with all the hotkeys, the interface can be clunky.
Unit R343 compromised.
Hey! Jesus Christ, I got him! This brings us to the story, which stays in line with the rest of the game. Without spoilers, I'll say it's mostly great, but there are some muddled elements. Especially in comparison to 1, the audio logs have some interesting narratives going on. The son of Edward Diego, the moron who caused the Citadel Station event to happen in the first game, is now the captain of the Rickenbacker. He's legitimately trying to do what's right and not be his father. There's a couple making plans to escape, a story of a civil war aboard the ship, the scientists who study the many, a lot of which become part of the many. A lot of side stories are happening, but most of them are intriguing. You can organically put together a lot of what happened before the game spells some things out, some of which I think were way too projected. The main antagonist doesn't try to replace Shodan. The many also want to fundamentally change humanity, but where Shodan was arrogant, the many are more pitying. They genuinely seem sad and repulsed by the idea of not being part of a hive mind. Not only do they tell you this directly, but other characters wonder if they're right.
But you fear us.
We hear your thoughts, and they rage for your brothers you believe dead.
But they are not.
They sing in our symphony of life. We offer another chance to join us.
Told us of the planet.
Man, that's such a cool, like, effect for a hive mind voice.
We know how you have harmed this place with your pollution and your discord. But when
Man, they keep going on about the Discord. They fucking hate that communicator. God damn.
we arrive there,
We will cleanse the surface of that place
and merge it with the harmony of the many.
In some ways, the many is not unlike the UNN. There's a joy in working towards a collective goal, in being able to put aside the things that draw us apart and make us separate. Why do we fear the loss of our individuality so much? Man can dream, but the many can accomplish.
It's a great new direction to take. They do get angry at all you destroy of theirs, but they still believe that they're in the right. They're trying to help you and all of mankind, but you just don't get it. How this all ends is very underwhelming, but if you don't want spoilers, go to here. Okay, so Dr. Polito. While she works with you to stop the many, she's very bossy. Technical-minded, ends justify the means, she gives no shits about the crew. It's odd because you find some of her audio logs around and she sounds much nicer.
But I've been working on that artifact Bayless brought back from Tau City 5. I've done a level 3 analysis on it. I think it's some kind of artificial intelligence. I've managed to pull an audio tag file out of its memory. I'll let you be the judge.
Oh boy, meeting her is gonna explain a lot.
Llama!
The Polito form is dead, insect. Are you afraid? What is it you fear?
The end of your trivial existence.
When the history of my glory is written, your species shall only be a footnote to my magnificence. My analysis of historical data suggests a 97.34% probability that you are aware of my birth on your planet.
This is one hell of a spectacular reveal. The issue is that the game foreshadows this way too hard. Xerxes spells it out 5 minutes in.
Intruder, the many demands to know your intentions. Are you allied with her? Do you not know of her intentions, of her history?
She once tried to destroy your species, and now you do her bidding.
Oh, Polito's fucking Shodan. Thank you, Xerxes.
Yeah, that's a little bit fucking weak, man. But the reveal itself is cool. It's just, yeah, the foreshadowing. Holy fuck, might as well call it the forcing it down your fucking throat.
Hell, we could go back to the intro, or the box. So the first thing I would do here is change the marketing material. I contacted Dakota Lee about this because he's done some pretty good game key art. I'm only guessing he's not the dog, but here's what we got brainstormed up. On the official cover, our twist character is front and center. System Shock 1 just had a regular cyborg enemy on it. So in that vein, why not one of the many's hybrids? This is more accurate to who you're facing 99% of the game. If you did want to go all out and still have scary rogue AI on the cover, why not Xerxes? Dakota actually may have outdone himself here. Of course, this is for fun, and from a marketing standpoint, putting Shodan on the cover does make sense. But I still would have loved an awesome cover that let them get away with the twist. What's happening is foreshadowed subtly, and I think you could rip out those overt lines without hurting anything. The many outright ask why you're serving the cybernetic metal mother. I mean, Jesus Christ, just come out and say it.
The elderly bitch is clearly a robot.
Clearly a robot.
How could it not be Shodan?
Fucking idiot.
I'm not sure what to be so heavy-handed. You can remove almost all the foreshadowing and it would still be effective. The next reveal is that the many are not aliens. Instead, they're mutant descendants of a garden grove on Citadel Station. In particular, the one the hacker jettisoned, and Shodan had a server node or something there as well, so she also survived. It crashed in a Tau Ceti 5 30 years later, the lifeforms evolved rapidly, and the Von Braun picked up their signal a decade or so later. I've heard some people wonder how the Grove got from Saturn to Tau Ceti in only 30 years. Scientifically, I'd guess it went through a who gives a shit wormhole, but you can do further research if that kind of stuff really bothers you. Shodan teams up with the player against the many, and this is where things get iffy for me. It's especially weird because in game circles now, people reference System Shock 2 Shodan, but they treat her like she's System Shock 1 Shodan. Before, she's almost everything fighting you. She's both the dungeon master and the dungeon itself. You're at her mercy, and she knows it and she owns it. She's just as arrogant and egotistical in 2. Her audio mixing and effects are as creepy as ever, and Terry just blows it away with the performance.
You move like an insect. You think like an insect. You are an insect. I can now transfer my magnificence to the Rickenbacker.
However, when it comes to her role, she's basically reduced to a glorified quest giver. You do her tasks and she says, "You're my slave and I'm gonna step on you," but that never happens, and I didn't really feel a threat of that happening. There is one brief moment where you can disobey her and she takes her cyber modules away instead of awarding them. This is a cool moment, and I would have loved if there was more stuff like that. She gets more power and can start affecting the ship systems or your own cybernetics and perception. Instead, she does nothing. You challenge the many by crawling inside of its huge biomass, which is now engulfing the ship. This huge cavernous flesh labyrinth is unlike anything you've played so far. You're completely out of your element, which you didn't have much of to begin with, and it's an overall great send-off. Also, a fun fact about a lot of the original textures here. One of the producers had to go in for some kind of procedure and kept the film. The body of the many is based off someone's actual colon. Speaking of shitty things, the Dark Engine was never good with moving platforms. Some people might say it's teeth grinding, and they made that literal. It's really just this one section you see, but it's so awful that it's ingrained in a lot of memories. This single jump may have tainted a lot of perception on the body of the many. That's impressive in its own right. It's the kind of thing you need to play to really understand. When you're deeper than ever, you need to take down the many's brain. As classic as their games are, Looking Glass never quite got boss fights right. Done and done. Let's see that again in Wizard Vision. Underwhelming, but I'll take that over tedium any day. As you leave the body,
True.
the many takes its final moments to
Like, the boss could have been a massive fucking health sponge, which is way worse than just getting it over in a couple of shots, you know.
You about Shodan. It laments its dying, but still relates to you more over a machine. After everything, it would still rather see you and humanity live over its metal mother. Shodan then immediately betrays you, as expected. And while games like this require suspension of disbelief, Shodan's plan is bonkers.
If Shodan is left to continue, her reality will completely assimilate ours. Space will become cyberspace, and Shodan's whims will become reality.
Right. She's somehow using the ship's FTL engine to merge cyberspace and real space to become God. So if this was more substantial or longer, I would be on board. Navigating a Shodan-controlled nightmare world would be a fun final challenge. A corrupted, balls-to-the-walls version of the Von Braun and the Rickenbacker. Shodan could be expanded out to be a real final villain and a good showdown. Instead, you walk through a mostly empty, condensed version of System Shock 1's medical wing. You can easily get to her within about 3 minutes of her betrayal. To make matters worse, somehow her boss fight is even more underwhelming than the Mini-Brain. It all feels very tacked on. It was either going to be a whole new act that got shortened down.
I think, yeah, I think I remember, I have like that inkling in my brain that I heard that the end of System Shock 2 was pretty rushed, which resulted in that like hilarious last cutscene. The textures being from a colonoscopy is still one of my favorite game facts. That level was literally pulled out of their ass. Yeah, that's fucking great.
Down, or they thought killing the many wasn't enough, so you had to go kill Shodan too. Funnily enough, the community patch put a good amount of attention here, and vanilla looks way, way worse. That all said, you get her.
How could you have done this?
You weren't meant
to be important. And now
you think to destroy. You think to destroy me.
Yeah.
How dare you, insect? How dare you interrupt
My ascendance. You are nothing.
A wretched bag of flesh.
What are you
compared to my magnificence?
But it is
not too late. Can you not see the value in our friendship? Imagine the powers
I can give
to you, human. The cybernetic implants I gave you were simply toys. If I desired, I could improve you, transform you into something more efficient. Join me, human,
and we can rule.
And we can rule together.
Nah.
Classic.
I know people who hate this, but this is a high note for me. What better way to tell off a wannabe god? Use a tone like she asked if you want some of her fries. Also, she's alive because she possessed someone or something, so this was pointless. Anyway, this game is a classic and highly influential. It's also very flawed, but it still holds up. It has this aesthetic and tone and blend of elements that you can't find anywhere else. It paved the way for huge games, little games, and probably more games to come. You can't find anywhere else. It paved the way for huge games, little games, and probably more games to come. It is so worth checking out. For the next week or so, it'll be $2 in the pinned link, which is absurdly more than worth it. All the modding stuff will be there too.
Move.
The story's not over just yet. Like the first game, Night Dive is making...
Move. Can you move? Jesus Christ, having a cat is a mistake. No, I'm just kidding. But he is an annoying little fuck.
An enhanced version of System Shock 2. I have no idea how hard they'll go on polishing or huge balance changes or making multiplayer playable, but I am excited to see what they do with it. Not to mention System Shock 3 is coming, just in time for a Dead Space reboot. I don't know what's happening anymore. I'll see you next time.
Are they making that? Are they making System Shock 3? God damn, I didn't know.
As the stopped playing 4 early on and have not tried 5. I am curious about Infinite. If they keep the Banished as the big bad, that'll be the funniest thing on the planet. Okay, till next time. Is this why 1 was a more coherent game? The monkeys did this?
Yup, the monkeys were behind it all along. The big twist. I haven't heard anything on it in a long while. Okay, so it might be one of those kinds of sequels, which just one day they will come out and say, we've fucking scrapped it and we're closing our studio. Or it will come out like without fanfare and it will be like kinda bad. But maybe in the off chance it's amazing, you know, there's in the off chance that it's amazing, it's worth like keeping an eye out for. There's a channel called Psychedelic Able that did a multiplayer playthrough of SS2. I'm assuming you... And the game gets broken in very interesting ways. I'm assuming you meant System Shock 2. We're talking dropping X of Y objects create a pipe that grows through the ceiling somehow, level of broken. What the fuck? That's so weird. Yeah, anyway, for people watching this later as a video, yeah, that's pretty much everything for today, and thank you very much for watching. And for people on the stream, we will be moving on to the last video of today, which is Dismantle the UN Project Wingman VR review. But first, somebody did recommend a thing. Okay. I'm guessing that's the short that somebody wanted to. If it's a short, I will just watch it right now. No problem.
Good job, Rhyhorn. We cleared out this dungeon, no sweat. Let's head back to base.
Hey, Typhlosion, there's something important I gotta tell you.
What's up, Rhyhorn? You sound, kinda weird. Are you good, bro?
I'm kinda very hard.
What?
Did I stutter?
You're what?
I have to rock smash Ty, and you're pretty hot.
Well, duh, I'm a fire type, but dude, what's going on?
Where do you think the horn in Rhyhorn comes from?
Good job, Rhyhorn. We cleared out this dungeon, no...
That's certainly a recommendation I just watched. Man.
Alright.
I'm just gonna come out and say it, right? Pokemon awakes something in people. And that thing is malicious. Oh my god. Hey man, yeah, that's the beauty of accepting all kinds of recommendations, you know. It's like that quote from Forrest Gump. You know, it's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get, and that's the beauty of it. Because it can be beautiful, horrifying, or both at the same time. And I'm gonna let you, the viewer, decide if which category that falls into. Oh. So yeah, Dismantle the UN Project Wingman VR review by by Rimi Down Under, not a channel I have ever checked out, but like this game specifically, somebody in the chat wanted me to check out, and you know, I'm here to take recommendations and to react to them. And I know Bricky also did a review of this, but I wanted to check out like some new channel to hopefully maybe like add somebody to my repertoire, you know. Oh, I would recommend that 3-minute sequence from Devmar. Okay, I can actually squeeze that in here too, so. Devmar, this boss won't fit the screen, I think was. Massive boss won't fit on screen.
Please remember to subscribe to the channel and sign up for the around. It's pretty easy to do if you'd like color variety, because in earlier versions the grass was all one color, which didn't look bad, but it was monotonous and uninteresting. I've also of that shader, and what it does is it builds
pretty nice.
I've received many questions about these reflections. These are sharp reflections which are only achievable with SDF GI.
So it's like a log of a game being made, which looks pretty nice.
They're only 24, and they follow the camera all around. They introduce to you a gargantuan beast, a grotesque, bloodthirsty giant, the ruler of these desolate wetlands, Mower. I call this thing Mower because it wants to mow you like a blade of tall grass. It stands some 100 feet tall, so it's freaking enormous. It has an ugly head, long and lanky legs, and it has a
cool design.
that is hanging upside down from that head at the top, and at the bottom of that spine is another head which looks like it's upside down and slashed in half with teeth growing all over it, and it has these huge eyes in all the wrong places and a rotating blade attached to the bottom. And
a little bit over designed, I would say, but it's definitely like a really cool, unique monster.
Mower has taken me a long time to build. Not just the modeling and texturing, but also the behaviors. When it spots you or hears you approach, it will release a pretty haunting groan, and it will charge at you. These movements are supposed to be reminiscent of those horror movie scenes where a demon would bone crack across the room towards the camera. That's what I was going for. Obviously not exactly that, because the scale is completely different, but yeah, I just wanted it to be creepy. Notice I've also added some sounds to the steps that it makes, and you may notice that the camera shakes a little bit when it gets near, just to intensify the feeling of being overwhelmed with the titanic scale of this thing. The legs are procedurally animated. They're basically Blender armatures with skeleton IK added to the foot bone in Godot. In the initial version I used modular legs.
Man, it looks funny when that big ass fucking thing hits you and it takes like this much of your HP bar.
In times before you can get some operations, it will compromise accuracy, which is what happened in my case. The legs would jitter a lot, so I decided I needed to use C++ to do the IK, and that's what I ended up doing. Conveniently, there's the skeleton IK node in Godot that does all that freaky math for you, and it's super efficient. I got like 20 frames back from using Godot's positions. In my code I also added some extra parameters like step duration, step interval, step height, and it goes about this in two ways. First, it kind of squats over you and starts mowing, but because it's so big and clumsy, you can actually dodge a lot of its attacks. So to make it harder, once it's got half of its HP taken away, it will start spitting ninja stars every time it gets shot, and you have to dodge those too. These shurikens follow a pre-made path which points towards the player. They spawn at the mouth of this lower head. I made a few different paths to differentiate the the trajectory, and I load a different one each time a shuriken is instantiated. Finally, when you kill the beast, its lower head breaks off, and you can actually run up to it and mutilate it further. And I'm not telling you to do this, I'm just saying you can. I actually thought it might be cool if you had to like burst its eyeballs to collect some artifacts hidden in the eye sockets. I haven't decided yet. Anyway guys, that's all for today. I hope you liked it. If you did, please
really cool. I'm more interested in this as in like a dev blog of, you know, this person.
Good day to you all. It's me again.
This person obviously is working on this crazy huge video game, and that look into video game development, the like ongoing, is really fucking cool for people who maybe wanna develop something themselves, you know. And yeah, really huge ass fucking boss fight. I'm not a fan of some of the design of this monster, but obviously
Alright, pilot, the mission today is
it's not a fucking mind game, is it? It's supposed to be like, it's supposed to be to the liking of the developer more than anything, and that's what's cool about these indie projects, because they show you a game psychotic to develop in some ways, like AAA would fucking never, right? This is what came to mind in the not faking the space idea, because the mower was not a building like those. The model itself is fully real, and though it doesn't look impressive in the model, the log is a great example of how to use presentation to give an idea of incomprehensible size. That's true. The mower didn't necessarily need to be like fully rendered even, right? Some parts of it are completely unreachable for you, so he could have used dev magic to fake it and only make like the swinging part you know, the swinging part just targetable, and the rest like just a pretty decoration essentially. So yeah, back to dismantling the UN Project Wingman review by, again, Remy Down Under. I keep forgetting. A game I know nothing about, but somebody was definitely excited for it, so why not give it a shot?
Alright, pilot, the mission today is simple. Some pirates hijacked a cargo ship, just fly in and sink their skiffs. I've got a feeling this is going to be a reoccurring theme.
Project Wingman is Ace Combat in VR. I say this as someone who has never played Ace Combat and whose entire knowledge of the franchise comes from Maxwell's video and memes about a country nuking itself. It's also very, very good. If you want the...
I was about to say, okay, I'm a little bit familiar with Ace Combat at least, but that's just made up comparison. But maybe it's accurate.
Rapid fire review. Game good, game cheap, buy now, fly high, Sky King. I spent the last 2 full days in VR and have emerged from my index with a desire to see the UN destroyed and a fear of the color orange. After destroying Somalia, your mercenary unit illegally crosses the border into Cascadia. Cascadia is a North American state that recently decided that taxation is theft and launched a rebellion
based
against the Oceanic UN. It turns out the UN in this world are allowed to do more than just watch the genocide, and instead get to actively participate. As such, their rebellion has gone tits up, and they now need mercenaries to help even the odds. Not that you'd know that, considering that everyone in this world fucking hates mercenaries.
We have to be mercenaries!
We're gonna be overrun. We need support. Do you think I have the money to call in a cast room from a goddamn Merc? They haven't paid us since the UN DDoS the internet. God damn it!
Their hatred of mercenaries may be understandable considering that a cabal of mercenaries attempted to set up an independent mercenary state in Australia.
I was about to say MGS5 vibes.
The first thing you do in country is capture a base by piloting tanks
Out
onto
in
the
heaven.
airfield.
What?
Man, that is unfortunately topical for today. I mean, to be fair, some of the jokes are topical for the entire UN's fucking existence.
After every mission, you get to spend your hard-earned pocket money on new jets because apparently supplying equipment for their own mercenaries is something Sicario just doesn't want to do. Intelligent people will bring the multi-lock missiles that make missions a breeze, but the true kings of the sky bring the shotgun gun pod to turn the game into a
what the fuck?
Guck hunt.
And yeah,
fucking shotgun on your goddamn plane. That's badass.
God, that's cool. Come on. Get him. Yeah. Come on. Get some. Yeah.
Alright, listen up. It turns out relying on a single mute pilot was not the greatest strategic decision, and we now have to tactically retreat from our capital. Thankfully, Galaxy has prepared a mood booster for this upcoming battle.
Man, that looks really, really, really good. Holy.
Let's mention the music. It is incredible. It fits the tone of each battle so well and changes style dramatically while still keeping a recognizable tune throughout. The best part is that this beautiful track isn't even the best one, but I'll save that for later. The game has downsides, of course, and those first appear when you're sent to attack a refinery. You repeatedly bomb a base with shitloads, and I mean shitloads of targets, while a strange Australian complains and you have every missile in the northern hemisphere chasing you.
Small flights of aircraft slipping past our front line and hitting the geothermal industry.
Is this an Aussie accent? Is that what that's meant to be?
Crikey! We've got mercenaries going up and down the line on Cascadia!
It gets bad when you fly over what used to be Yellowstone Park until someone lidded too hard.
And the best part is 3 people made this game, including the music. What the fuck? That's awesome, man. I would never expect this is like an indie project. Holy fuck.
This is your first experience with the orange. It's not the worst and an interesting change at this point in the story.
Ah yes, the classic dilemma of, is it lasagna? Is it molten lasagna? Or is it Izalith Ruins from Dark Souls 1?
But it also includes these extractors which you need to blow up. Now look at these. Pause, zoom, enhance. In a flying game, this is clearly a test of skill to fly into the tunnel, shoot the target, and fly out. Only know if you do that, this happens. I'm so fucking mad. Instead, you send just the tip of the missile in and prematurely explode inside of there.
Are you enjoying Yellowstone? It's the gem of our homeland, Monarch. Just look at the orange glow. In the name of Crimson Squadron and the United Nations, I will bring retina damage to the entire world.
Anyway, you just turn around and leave.
Hey, come back.
No. Next, you're out in the ocean in a storm, and like every Navy mission in this game, this one is an absolute blast. You also get to meet Captain Jack Sparrow for the first time after they just fucking hijacked the Federation's most advanced vessel, and are currently running away with it. The VA in this game varies. But the Eminent Domain is easily one of the best.
This is Captain Woodward, commander of this proud vessel, and we graciously accept your help.
Project Wingman must have taken a leaf out of my book because they just poached TTS voice actors.
What? The VI mentioned plays Kaiser, leader of Sicario. That's cool. What the hell?
As well. And you finally meet the first reason to fear Orange.
What the shit was that? Did I just have a laser shot at me? What the fuck?
The railguns in this game are absolutely incredible to fight. Each one is like a mini trench run. For some reason, they leave behind a trail of laser that will microwave you if you fly through it, so if you don't want Monarch to become a Burger King, you need to get good at dodging those trails. The UN decides cruise missiles are a reasonable solution to a light spot of piracy, and you're sent up like a British World War II pilot to shoot them down. The only problem is that these V1s can dodge.
Oh god, they can dodge? The missiles can dodge?
The UN is still DDoSing our internet so that our own country doesn't even know there is a war on, despite the fact the capital was just the scene of a major battle. Since we sent a pirate to sink all their naval vessels, the UN have had to get the logistics in by air. Your job today is to shoot down those air convoys, but be careful to avoid the civilian vessels they hide among.
I accidentally brought a multi-lock missile to this mission. Why can our planes even lock onto civilian IFFs?
You cannot make an omelette without breaking a couple of million eggs, you know? It's just part of the job.
Federation decided that the only logical thing to do to prevent further civilian casualties is to escalate the conflict by bringing an airship and a vampire and an advanced interceptor.
I'm on him like a mask on a femboy.
The rebels realized that Monarch is the only person capable of winning the war, so they drug him up on Perverton and send him alone to destroy an entire enemy air defense network. Why they thought a plane would be the optimal choice for this mission, we may never know. At least until you realize the SK-25U can bring 8 multi-lock anti-ground missiles, and the air defense in this game is about as useful as a PowerPoint in an Amish barn.
Fire the missiles. My god, look at that. Just wiping an entire base with a single volley.
This mission only took me 8 minutes.
Alright, look, the internet being down has had a serious morale effect on our forces. We've missed at least 5 VTuber debuts. We're sending the entire mercenary force into the desert to blow up big internet to allow small intranet to take over.
Enjoy, mate.
Oh god, that's cool. Jesus! Do you think I can drop bombs on one of those? Drop! Oh my god, I totally hit it! I totally fucking hit it! Holy shit!
Man, I'm not into those kinds of games, but this looks like a sick ass fucking experience, especially in VR. Holy.
Mission complete.
With the evils of the internet destroyed and replaced by an intranet no one will ever use, because who the fuck uses intranets? The UN is on the back foot. They try to retreat forces, and the Cascadians try to stop them. The UN responds by sending more forces, and the Cascadians do as well until literally the entire air force of Cascadia is engaged in a single battle. And this single battle,
Mother of God,
is the best battle of Project Wingman. It is accompanied by the best song in the game as well.
This music is great. What is this? Hey, it's Master Goose! What the?
That sounds like something out of a fucking mecha anime or a mecha game. What the hell?
Fuck is going on with these missiles, honestly? Woo! Star Wars Squadrons, eat your heart out! Oh, baby! How low did I go there? Just firing my gun into this horde, and I got a plane. There we go.
Hang on a second.
Hashtag inspired.
This is where Project...
See, I wasn't off with that mecha anime sounding. I'm going to have to look into this. VR always has this magic touch, and even though I will get motion sick, I'm sure I will enjoy playing this anyway. Oh yeah, this looks like This looks fucking awesome.
Wingman truly shines.
Like a good, at least a good excuse to get the VR headset, because you know there aren't that many VR games that are truly worth the effort. But this sure looks like it does.
Beyond beautiful landscape with massive furballs of dogfights scattered above the clouds, like angels dueling in an old western street.
And I'm saying all of that, I'm not even that into like, you know, plane-based dogfighting games in general.
Your allies are actually useful and will down planes and be downed in turn as you do your best just to try and keep up with the buffet of targets you have available.
Holy shit, there's one plane left! Everyone's just diving on him! There he goes.
And then he appears.
A king leading his army. It's a shame, Monarch. This arena is not to my taste. Too mellow, too blue and gray. Not enough orange. Even the sun above us burns white. I want every day to look like Koningsdag.
Yeah, there's Crimson.
Oh man, fucking...
I want every day to look like Koningsdag.
The fucking Netherlands mentioned, holy shit. Or rather, Nederland.
Yeah, there's Crimson. I'm on him like a Discord moderator and a small child. Get him with the guns! Yeah! Got him with the bloody guns! Fuck me, I sent all my missiles at him, he's down.
And then he fucks off into the blue sky, and we're never gonna see him again. I switched into the definitely not a Harrier jet, and realized that not only can it turn like a squirrel on crack, but it can hover. Well, actually it can't, it just can't stall.
Here's my favorite trick with the Harrier, right? You're coming in on a two-target important area. Fuck off, CRAM. You go in, you set up one missile run, you backflip, you go da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and then you come back around, your missiles have recharged, and you shoot the other thing and you fly on out of there. Goodbye. Oh my god, it's so much fun to do!
The first calamity didn't poison the world enough, so you go to blow up some oil rigs only to encounter an eco-terrorist hell-bent on saving the geothermal whales.
Bring it, mate, I've got a shotgun and you're just a duck!
I'm sorry, an eco-terrorist in a fucking fighter
This boss
jet?
fight is pretty easy,
What?
right up until...
What'd he say? Jesus fucking Christ, it's got railguns! Fucking help!
Soon enough, British technology from 1969 beats an advanced prototype and you fly on home. Because corporate espionage, high treason and rebellion were enough crimes to add to your ever-growing list, the mercenaries decide to commit Pearl Harbor 2 on a fleet of airships docked in the kingdom of Swahiki.
Alright, let's bomb this bloody thing. And bonk, bonk, bonk. Just like the Arizona. Oh, there's a yacht out here. Hello there, excuse me, sir. Nice yacht.
Sorry, hang on, this vessel is called the R. Astley. The Rick Astley. Come on! The best part of this is that the kingdom is just kind of okay with you obliterating a Federation fleet.
A French eco-terrorist in a fighter jet. I'm sorry. Holy, that is grounds for immediate execution. Not because he's an eco-terrorist or that he's in a fighter jet, but French?
Once you're done blowing up defenseless vessels, it's time to blow up defenseless evacuees. The UN is in full retreat across Cascadia and have decided to take the words scorched earth fucking literally. So you protect the firefighters who exist in this game from any harm by missile striking fleeing
Jesus
evac.
fucking Christ. The top 10 most dangerous jobs in the world being a firefighter in Project Wingman universe.
Trucks. Highway of Death 2.0. Next up is an important... Oh no. Oh god, no. People need to stop naming cities this, please. So you fly into Prospero to assist with the siege, and hey, wouldn't you know it, Prospero fucking burns! Cruise missiles are inbound, and before you know it, the UN has just put the Cadia in Cascadia. And by the UN...
Oh man.
I mean, only one man.
My dead body. I will be the officer responsible for making this call. Stand down, Captain.
Is it heresy to laugh when Cadia is mentioned instead of crying?
You're gonna have to kill me.
I just heard him get shot.
Let's stop for a moment and explain something about Project Wingman. In Project Wingman, the world is set in an age called After Calamity. The calamity was what happened when the Ring of Fire exploded and sent the world into an ice age. The end result, however, was a new material called cordium, which is basically just uranium squared, and lava everywhere, resulting in lots of geothermal power. The nations on the Ring of Fire became powerhouses in the recovery after the calamity. So what does Crimson do? He starts a second fucking calamity by nuking Prospero so hard that all of the cordium underground reacts and explodes the entire Ring of Fire again. It's like nuking Nagasaki so hard that San Francisco explodes. Orange lightning now exists, and someone put these fucking glasses on me and I can't take them off. Even worse is the melting UI. This stays for the entire game past this point.
I thought that was just a coincidence, but both are a 40k reference after all.
For some ungodly reason, and it's so awful to look at in VR. But hey, on the upside, I discovered that your wingman, including Galaxy, will always match your speed, so if you just start hovering, the AWACS vessel will just copy you too. When you return to base, no one is responding because the second apocalypse turned the small intranet off again. But it's okay, because while you wait, the eco-terrorist from earlier shows up again and decides to try and get the bounty on your head. The world is fucking ending, but okay, I guess. No one cares about the actual boss. The cool part of this fight is the Master Goose Squadron fighting with her.
Well, thank God I brought the Master Goose? No! Not Master Goose!
These guys show up in the first mission as neutral mercs, but then actually fight alongside you in later missions. To see them then turn against you when you're at your lowest, it just shows how isolated the mercenaries really are in a world where the United Nations are against them. Now, if only the actual main boss had anything like that. You may think the saddest part of the nuking of Prospero is that lots of people die and a second apocalypse starts, but you'd be wrong. No, you see, the real victim is you, the player. Your eyes, specifically. If you're in VR, prepare yourself. Forget the rolling green hills and snow-capped mountains. Forget the furball in the sky.
Oh boy, are we going to Lost Izalith from Dark Souls 1? Are we fucking going to Lost Izalith?
Above the Bering Strait. Forget the moonlit...
The nuclear orange lasagna?
Dance beneath the stars. For in the aftermath of the second calamity, there is only orange. The ground is orange, the sky is orange, the clouds are orange, the laggy ass nukes are orange.
We are going so fucking deeper than Lost Izalith. Oh my god.
Apparently, the second apocalypse wasn't enough to warrant a ceasefire, so after the strangest cutscene, seriously, why the fuck is there a table just floating there? Also, even at the end of the game, they don't even reveal what the hell he offered them that had them gasping, so I just have to assume it was a signed copy of Biggles Sees It Through, as in this world, Biggles has taken on a mythical status as the patron saint of airmen, akin to something that of Jesus Christ. So you just fly off into the second apocalypse to go blow up some Land Cruiser P-1000 rats, which are being driven by Mad Max characters, and then a pilot calls them unreasonable. In a game in which giant flying air battleships exist, he calls a big ground vehicle unreasonable. This displeases the Mechanicus. After waiting for it to cool for a bit, the Independence Force returns to Prospero, and hang on a fucking second, this isn't cooled at all. It's still on fire. And they want to drive trucks in. Not that it matters, this mission is just an excuse for you to fight Crimson again. After all, a criminal always returns oh, fuck off, that was my line. So Crimson dogfights you with his plane and gaslights you with his radio until Diplomat snaps in possibly the best conversation this game has to offer.
Damn.
There's something so satisfying about telling that talkative fucker to shut up. It is just a shame that you can't do that in the boss fight because Monarch is mute and Prez passes out 2 minutes in.
Relax, Prez, you're good. What? Did she just pass the fuck out?
So you shoot him down and you never see him again. Promise. Captain...
I can't believe this actually has a fucking story of any kind. God damn. That's... But those are like... cool characterization for a lot of the pilots
Jack
here.
Sparrow returns as you engage the UN fleet at sea in one of the best missions in the game. Dueling with airships, fighters, and a full naval task force, it is a joy to behold. And in the final moments, your boss returns with a full mercenary army at his heels, because they still haven't forgiven them for Australia.
He's the Oceanian Aussie! Oh, I love him!
It's time for the final battle. An epic-scale war over the capital, one final push to drive out the UN peacekeeping mission and ensure they never keep the peace again. You've got a massive land battle fought in the low suburbs and extensive high-rises.
Have they parked artillery on rooftops? Hold on! They fucking have!
An intense air war that lets you dance between the clouds or the 5G towers erected around the city. Cruiser down. And then the last of the UN Navy sails out while still on fire to give battle to Jack Sparrow and his pirate fleet.
Holy shit, the ships are on fire as they're sailing out of port to go fight. Now that's some Japanese World War II kind of bullshit. The fires just give them extra smoke cover.
It's a beautiful final mission, with incredible music to match and putting all of your training to the test, as every ally you've made joins you for the curtain call. Finally, the Federation is pushed back to the port as a ceasefire is called right before you can finish the last of them. Where have I seen that before?
Attention! The Empire has agreed to a ceasefire. All units in combat are to immediately disengage.
It's a quiet ending. A bittersweet victory, when just moments ago you were thirsting for the blood of the blue helmets. But it's an ending. It's complete.
Bonkers stories are given with Ace Combat and Ace Combat likes. True. I heard Ace Combat has some fucking ridiculous and like cool stories. That's why I kinda wanted to get into those games, even though I'm not into like plain combat based games. I have so many questions about the artillery being atop skyscrapers. War crimes, Comrade Leech. War crimes.
Might even have noticed that the final battle had variety in color. It was beautiful.
Man.
The one thing it wasn't?
Orange.
So I'm assuming last second nuke drops. Oh man.
Now I'd like to take a step back and take you through my thoughts in this moment. For me up to this point, the game had been a 10 out of 10. This ending was so awful it nearly made me quit without finishing the game. I'll let you see my reactions in real time.
Kings! King Crimson! Cascadian. It's fucking insane that you nuked your capital!
Hey, remember Ronan? How I was saying how cool it was that Ronan was in the city? Hi, Ronan. How you doing? These poor motherfuckers. That is literal lava. The city has become lava. I'm on you, mate. I'm on you like syphilis on Al Capone. Let's go. Welcome to Above the Clouds. I'll be your host.
Yes! Yeah! Eat some gun, mate!
Oh, look at that. Changing phase, are we? Yeah. Well, you have a railgun, so it's a bit fucking unfair, isn't it? I have a feeling, I know who you're talking about. What in the actual fuck?
What
you have
the
this now?
fuck?
And you seem to assume this is a fair fight. Fuck. How the fuck did I dodge all of those? Jesus Christ. It's looking like fucking Undertale over here. Surely. This turn. Fuck!
Woohoo! Baby, that's for Ronan!
Oh shit, he's still shooting at me? I thought we were fucking done, mate. Fucking hell. Goodbye, Crimson. I'm kinda feeling bad for him now. He's real sad boy hours. Just don't shoot me, or we'll be fucking furious! Crimson. Crimson, you gotta let me go. Crimson, mate. Mate, we're done. This is it.
No, notice that his 3 health bars have disappeared, and his voice lines have stopped. I'd already fought him for 20 minutes, and 10 more minutes after I fought him without his health bars anymore. I had hit him 7 times. At this point, I was convinced. Surely, it was some trick. Either I had to get shot down, or an ally would save me, or I had to leave the map. Something. So, with a smile on my face, I turned and asked for a dance.
Come on, Crimson, let's dance with the angels!
Was he actually so fucking good at the game that he broke it? Oh my god.
Again and again.
It's gonna say mission failed or something like that, isn't it?
You see, confusion then reigned. I thought it was a time travel sequence or something. No. Reality set in fast.
Are you shitting me? I have to do that whole fight again?
I played the entire game on hard, the hardest difficulty you can without beating the game first. Somehow, the first time in, I nearly beat him. I say nearly because I beat him, right? No. The boss has a hidden 4th health bar. There is absolutely no indication of this, but in my first run, after hitting him 7 times, he must have only been a missile or 2 off of death. So I restarted the battle.
That's so fucking annoying, man. Oh my god.
Fuck!
Remember when Mandalore talked about the boss? Nope, this is what the boss fight was actually like before they updated it. Now only mercenary difficulty reverts it to how it was before. Remember how Mandalore talked about in his System Shock 2 review that you could take out the bosses like almost in an instant, and but it's better that way than if the boss fight was tedious and the boss had inflated numbers. This is a great fucking example of that. The boss having like a really large amount of HP does not make it more epic or dramatic. It usually makes it way more fucking annoying, and a good way to bitter the experience for a player that was enjoying it so far. So yeah, better that it was slightly underwhelming than this.
Fuck!
Oh man, I feel so sorry for him. Holy shit.
No! Fuck!
For over 2 full hours.
And this attack is like fully unreactable. It looks fully unreactable if you are in the wrong position when it goes off.
No!
Like, where the fuck do you go to avoid damage? Holy.
Fuck!
For over 2 full hours, I jeweled that bastard above the orange that he...
But good, from what you said, they actually updated this boss fight, so props to the dev for actually, you know, going back and fixing it to, I assume, have less health.
Desired for so long. My retinas burned as he shot at me with orange. The floor beneath me bubbled with orange. The sky crackled with orange lightning, and the missiles chasing me beeped in orange. Am I locked on? I don't fucking know. Everything is orange. Remember that during all of this, I'm in VR. I have been in VR for over 8 hours at this point. The fact that the police were not called during my outburst is a testament to how little of a fuck my neighbors give. Finally, after finding a way to lower the difficulty due to the resume button putting you straight into the hangar instead, I put that fucker down. An awful boss to cap off a brilliant game. Crimson drifts down from the sky, giving a final speech.
Fucking finally! Holy shit! Oh my god. Remember when I was happy in the first one? Remember?
Gaze upon my final form.
And he turns himself into an orange.
And then phase 2 starts.
You then have 5 lines of text. That is the entire ending. Roll credits. Fun fact, if you go into the files, you actually get a more complete ending where you learn that the only confirmed KIA in the entire game is Major General Elizabeth, and also that the Independence Force just kind of recovered immediately from the nuking and massacred Federation soldiers in the city. How they did this, I'll never know, considering that the city was turned into fucking lava. People are surprisingly good at surviving nukes in this game. The files also tell you that the rest of the world is now staging uprisings and wars against the UN, inspired by your example, because apparently they all want to know what a cordium nuke feels like too. And that was Project Wingman. I may sound negative at the end, and that's because I am, because the ending is bad and thus I am negative. But the game as a whole was a fucking amazing time, a seriously cool setting, with a lot of character, told in a way that I adore. I love radios, so character being told through radios, transmissions, and a battlefield that you're interacting with, God, I love it. That's why I enjoy Arma. This
Same health, but at least you get to see both yours and Crimson's health bar in the final stage on any difficulty but Mercenary. Also, the mines have a radius warning, so you can get away quicker. Okay, at least there's that. I would nerf his health, because that sounds really fucking tedious to just, you know, shoot so many projectiles into one enemy before he goes down. But, you know, there is clearly some dev intent there. There is clearly some dev intent there, so it should be the way they wanted it to be. It's their game after all, right?
Game is well worth the only $25 that it costs, and you don't even need VR to play it. You can play it with a controller, with a HOTAS, with a keyboard.
Oh, you don't even need VR for this game. That's cool. So is the VR mode free?
With VR or without it, it's honestly good for everything. I highly recommend it. Maybe soon I'll play some Conquest mode, but for now I need to retire.
If you can switch out of VR, then it's great, because you can switch out for that last fucking boss fight, you know?
Time I close my eyes, I see it. Orange. To be fair, that's what always happens when you close your eyes. You thought we were done, kid? According to Sector D2, we're not done. You see, between me starting this video and now, not only have they started a beta opt-in system to test out the new patches, but they've already released the patch to Steam. Just 5 days after launch, we have a huge patch. It's not just bugs being addressed here, for instance the repeating takeoff scene, but gameplay and design changes as well. The AOA module is being added to more aircraft, which I never mentioned in the video because I never used it in my playthrough. We've got changes to the UI, level adjustments, and the one I wanted, level lighting adjustments. Heavy usage of certain colors. Well, yeah, just sum up my video like that, why don't you? They even say orange! They changed the mission I complained about. They changed the tint in the final level. They also just made this one go to early morning. I don't know why they changed that one. Fixes to VR. Fixing a critical issue where players spawn in front of mountains. That's kind of fucking funny if I'm being honest. And changes to the boss fight. Now, if you aren't playing in mercenary mode, you will actually see the health bar.
Yo. Crimson will no longer use AoE and railgun cluster bombs in the fourth stage. Fourth stage will give player extra 50 health. Crimson will only restore to 50 of his original phase health in the fourth phase. So yeah, he is just overall
Also, those
easier,
annoying as hell bubble attacks now have a warning radius. I cannot go into how good. Also, those annoying as hell bubble
and yeah, the fucking
attacks now have a warning radius.
The radius.
I cannot go into how good this patch is. They have looked at the community saying, hey, this is a great game, but these things need to be fixed, and they have fixed them. It isn't just slight.
I clap. The dev listening to their player base. Fucking incredible. Unheard of in the year of our
Very
Lord.
numbers changes like, oh, I changed 100 damage to 125. These are actual design and appearance changes to the game. This dev team is incredible. Project Wingman. 10 out of 10. Buy now. For once, this isn't sponsored.
Well, there's a reason why this shortens to Project W. Because it's a huge fucking W.
And now the video's over.
That's really, really, really cool. What a cool ass video game, and what a great dev that actually fucking listens to what their player base has to say. Incredible effort for an indie team. If what you said is, I'm assuming what you said is accurate because somebody in the chat said it was made by 3 people. Incredible fucking effort by them. Holy. And yeah, the mecha anime vibes, 100%. Fucking the music especially. God damn. So yeah, thanks for sharing the video. Hope you all enjoyed. And for the people watching this later on YouTube, as always, come visit the stream on the weekends if you want. You can recommend me channel, you can recommend me things to watch live, and just chat with me, you know. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you, as always, in the next one, whatever that might be, and whenever that might come to fruition. And for the stream, we are also going to be wrapping it up. We got a good deal of things done, I think. 4 videos, 3.5 hours of stream. So yeah, I'm pretty happy. I turned myself into a orange monarch. I'm orange crimson. Oh man. Yeah, great video. Remy is definitely fucking hilarious, man. And yeah, thank you for joining me, and I will see you hopefully on the next stream, ladies and gentlemen, and hopefully I get to react to more of your great recommendations. So yeah,